We welcome you all back to Sebring International Raceway. Thank you for rejoining us here on the far side of our second break of the day. Ah, man, it's good to be back, guys. It was definitely weird taking a 2-hour break from a broadcast that I was a part of. That was a new experience for me, be it real life or online. That was new. But we do join you here on the far side now into the final 2 hours just about of the iRace of Remembrance. And let's just quickly take you on what has been a heck of a ride to get here so far. So these guys ran the I totally messed that up. Operation eMotorsport iRacing League in those Mazda Miatas for 8 weeks. They had their recurring league each and every week. They had a couple off weeks in there, but going to some of America's best racetracks in those global Mazda MX-5s. And then we got with Operation Motorsport. We said, you know what? Let's have an endurance race like this, because they brought up the fact that, of course, 2020 has been difficult for everybody and has completely messed up plans for the real race of Remembrance, unfortunately, and that means Operation Motorsport has to stay stateside. They can't go over to Anglesey Circuit in England. Therefore, we have the iRace of Remembrance, and the big driving home point of the iRace of Remembrance is right there in the name, to remember those who we have lost, those who have fallen, standing and protecting both us and our allies. It's an incredibly noble cause, to back incredibly noble soldiers who go over and lay their lives on the line and unfortunately are killed in action all too often. And we want to thank Operation Motorsport, we want to thank Ricardo, we want to thank Mobile One, we want to thank Redcom for backing us to be able to bring this to all of you as a way of still connecting everybody in place of the real race of Remembrance. This has been so cool to be a part of. I want to thank personally Diesel and Tiffany Lauder. I want to thank personally Jason Leach, Sean Knight, everybody else who has put hard work into this event. We'll be talking with another guy here very shortly that definitely is a big part of this as well. And yeah, it's certainly been a really, really cool day. Want to take you through the current standings, the current results if this race were to end now. Of course, we still have 2 hours to go, so it won't yet, but we can take a look at how things are stacking up so far. I guess it's no wonder that a driver with the last name of Hines comes from Pennsylvania, but currently Hines is leading here for the BMW CCA Club iRacing team. They have led... Well, I guess he has led 8 laps based on what this says. They started third place. They've got a margin of 4.5 seconds or so. You can see it there. And these are just the current results if it was to end now. That's why it says unofficial iRace of Remembrance results. This is if the race was to end now. Of course, we still have 2 hours to go. And you'll see those stats there remain for the number 44 team. You can see the back, 11th through 20th here of the results. See some of these guys starting to fall a few laps down, but they still have all of their battles going on that we'll keep an eye on here throughout the rest of the evening. And we've still got at least 2 hours of evening to go. We've got the 2 hours of racing left, and then we've got plenty, and I mean plenty, of post-race to go over here very, very shortly. I want to thank you again for tuning in here to Pit Stop TV and joining us everywhere that we're broadcasting to: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and the Operation eMotorsport YouTube channel. It has been a wonderful day so far, and guys, welcome back into the booth here, Noah and Trey.
Yeah, well, you were gone. When you left, the gap was at about 30, almost 40 seconds. It has dwindled down to a little over 4 seconds as that number 20 Swarm Racing Machine really beginning to close in the gap to Hines. Rudis is piloting the number 20. He has just eaten away at that lead minute by minute by minute, and he is right there. 3.5 seconds. He closed at a half second that last lap, almost a full second actually, as he is really starting to run on a 44. So be very aware in these next few minutes. That 20 car is going to be right on that back bumper 44. You might see a change for the overall lead here in the coming minutes.
Yeah, just from whenever I left, just looking at the running order now, seeing that, the 70 cars made their way up into a podium position. The 20 cars we mentioned, Swarm Racing on their way up to try to take the lead from the 44. Just a lot has changed since we took that break, and like we said, we got 2 hours of racing left, and it's getting down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this race transforms over the course of the next 2 hours. You see, currently on board of Swarm Racing right now, they are some 3 3/4 seconds back of BMW CCA Club iRacing. So this is for the race lead possibly. I mean, this whole race is still up in the air, because especially if these guys end up in some kind of issue here, guys, oh man, this really opens this race up to teams like Rocket Surgeon Racing, Fish and Sim Racing, who are a little bit further back and just need a little bit of help to get back into this one. It looks like BMW CCA Racing getting ready to put the number 927 one lap down, and there it is up ahead. That is Shane Hunter currently in the car. He started this car as well. We're seeing most of the starting drivers come back into the car right now. Most of these teams are 2-driver teams, meaning they basically just rotate. The starting drivers are back in now in the 3rd stints overall, and the drivers who did not start will be finishing the race. But in those 3-driver teams, they have a little more freedom to mix up how they want to use their drivers, and can certainly put their starting driver back in at the end, and we just might see some of them do that. We do want to move right on down the line. We don't want to keep him waiting for too long. Kevin Boehm has been very, very patient waiting on us, and one will invite him back into the booth. Kevin, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's actually, I think it's been since COTA. When this race league raced at COTA maybe a month and a half ago since we talked to you. But how are you doing? How are you enjoying today's race?
Yeah, I'm doing great, and it's been really cool to watch this race unfold, and especially here in the last hour or so, see the battle really get going up front.
Yeah, things certainly tightening up. But let's talk about you real quick, Kevin. Obviously, you're Kevin Boehm Racing, but tell us about Kevin Boehm Racing's affiliation here with Operation Motorsport.
Well, I mean, this year we got a fresh start in the TC America Series with SRO, and through CrowdStrike, who was we worked really closely with this year. We learned about Operation Motorsport, and we were able to kind of connect with Operation Motorsport at the beginning of the year, and we saw an opportunity to kind of partner up together. And starting at the first race of the season, we basically took Chad Failing, a beneficiary, and he joined our team, and we really sort of a test. We wanted to see if we could work together, and we didn't know a lot about Operation Motorsport to that point, but we worked together and had Chad kind of join our team, and we had a great event, and that really just set the stage to work with Operation Motorsport for the rest of the season.
And mentioning that we're coming to the end of the 2020 racing season, how do things look with Operation Motorsport, Kevin Boehm Racing at 2021?
Well, I mean, everything worked so well with Operation Motorsport this year. We had a lot of success. We won quite a few races, and I have no doubt that that was in a large part due to the kind of teamwork that we got from our 2 beneficiaries that worked with us all season. So we really want to try to do that again next year. We want to be a part of Operation Motorsport and have beneficiaries join us so that we can share kind of our competitive nature and kind of give that team atmosphere. And yeah, it's been great to have them on our team, and we want to continue doing it in the future.
And now, Kevin, I recall that we had Will Babineau, an Opmo beneficiary and I believe team member for Kevin Boehm Racing when we spoke the first time back at COTA. How have these beneficiaries such as Will been able to help you and your team specifically? I mean, what do you guys have them doing, and how much of an impact does it really make?
Well, I mean, our team is really small. I mean, if you take the Operation Motorsport guys out, it's really just made up of myself, my dad, and my wife. So really, really small team to be racing in SRO. But having Will and having Chad on our team, what that really allowed was for kind of me to step back and do kind of divide up responsibilities a little bit, because before we had Will and Chad on the team, I was having to do a lot of different roles. I was driving. I'm the engineer. I was the tire guy. I was the fuel guy. I was doing a lot of different things, and having the beneficiaries on the team allowed me to offload some of that work so that I could kind of be more focused on some of my responsibilities. And I was able to kind of teach Will and Chad to do some of those roles at a really high level. I didn't have to check over them. I didn't have to kind of look over their shoulder the whole time. They were able to work autonomously, and together we were able to basically get everything done in a way that allowed us to be really successful the whole season.
Yeah, you mentioned just splitting up responsibilities, delegating things to other people, and just allowing everybody to be better at the fewer things that they're doing then. It's so true in every team atmosphere. It works even for our broadcasts here. Just splitting things up enables, excuse me, enables every one person to be just a little bit better at what they are focusing on. So I totally understand that. Looking forward to 2021, are there plans to involve more beneficiaries and in larger roles as well?
That's right, and really, I'm trying to figure out exactly what our 2021 is going to look like right now. We're pretty sure that I'm going to be back in World Challenge again. We're working through some of those details now, and 100% chance if we're back, then we're going to be partnered with Operation Motorsport again. And I definitely want to kind of expand some of the roles. It's funny as we went through the whole season, you kind of learn the capability of the beneficiaries that we're working with. So having Will and Chad with us, the more races we had, I was able to kind of see deeper into their capability, their skills, and definitely being able to learn that gives me more ideas for other things that they could do. So once we kind of get the actual program figured out for next year, we're definitely going to be thinking about how to involve beneficiaries and figuring out different ways that we can use them even to make us even better.
Absolutely. In racing, it's all about getting better, of course. Kevin, what are the chances we get you in one of these BMW GT4s or Porsche 718s or something here in the near future and get you out with these Operation E Motorsport guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really disappointed that I can't be out there today. Earlier this summer I kind of injured my wrist, and I kind of ignored it the whole rest of the year because I wanted to get through the race season. But I'm trying to take a little bit of a break and get this thing healed so I don't have to be in a little bit of pain all the time. So otherwise I would be out there today, but as soon as I can get that healed, I'll be driving for sure. I'm watching this race, and I just it's tough for me to watch because I know I have so much more fun when I'm driving.
Well, I understand that for sure. Any racer wants to be racing. Hey, well, if your wrist is hurting you, do you want to take a shot at being a commentator, take one of our jobs?
I've tried that a couple of times, and I really respect what you guys do because I don't know how you do it. I mean, it's to be able to look and see what's going on and be able to kind of interpret it and tell the story. It's a real skill, and yeah, I don't think that I can do it like you guys can. That's for sure.
Hey man, it's a whole lot of fun, especially when we get to bring in guys like you and talk to you throughout this iRace of Remembrance. Now, back to the point, real quick before I let you go, about the iRace of Remembrance. How much does this affect you, and do you have any experiences maybe that you can speak on, any connections to that point?
You know, I mean, this is a really cool race, and I'm definitely disappointed that the race can't be in England like it normally is. But I'm really I think it's really impressive what Operation Motorsport's been able to do to kind of organize this event and still be able to kind of honor everybody through this iRacing race of remembrance. So it's pretty neat to even be able to be here and just be a part even as an interview. And yeah, like I said, I wish I could be out there driving. I have a lot of respect for Operation Motorsport and everybody involved, and I don't have a lot of experience with the military, and I can't imagine what some of these guys have gone through, but being able to be involved in racing and share kind of my passion, and that's the best thing that I can give back, and I'm going to do it as much as I can.
Well, hey, Kevin, again, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you sitting down and sharing a few moments here with us while this iRace of Remembrance heats up. There's actually a lead battle heating up here down to just under a second and a half. So we'll let you go, Kevin, but I'm sure we'll be talking to you again in the future.
All right. Thanks again. I really appreciate you guys inviting me on here.
Thank you so much for your time again, Kevin. Have a great day. We'll be talking to you later. And that's Kevin Boehm of Kevin Boehm Racing, of course. And you see that lead battle is picking up just a little bit. Guys, we have a serious race for the win on our hands. This 44 is just a little bit underpaced compared to this 20 car of Swarm Racing, and this is really going to change the dynamic of this race. Whoa, and oh my, Hines just missed turn 3 and slid through the corner. The tires are definitely starting to wear. You know, these guys are actually coming down to the end of their third stint on tires, so, of course, you know, they're getting close to their tire change.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. Dave Hines is actually the third driver on that 44 crew, while Liam is actually, I would assume, since he's driver 1, he's the lead driver. So we're seeing the speed difference from out of these two. Not any hate being shown over to the 44, but you're going to see that 20 car have a lot more pace. During that whole interview, he dropped almost a whole 4 seconds, and like I said, in the coming minutes when you start back up this broadcast for this next part of the race, in the next few minutes, you're going to see that number 20 Swarm Racing BMW really be all over the back bumper of the 44, and we are seeing it now as the fight for the overall lead is starting to heat up, as we have now reached under 2 hours left in the race, and what a perfect time to finally see the fight for the overall lead heat up.
I guess the team name's kind of fitting right now as he's starting to swarm all over the back bumper of that 44. But nonetheless, I'm watching throughout the interview. As you mentioned, Noah, he was just picking up time here and there. And obviously, we were talking about tires coming into play and the lead driver versus not a lead driver. And you're just seeing here on the onboard, you're just seeing how he's being very meticulous getting into these corners, getting this slipstream going down the straightaway here before we go into turn 17. But he's just picking up a lot of extra speed that's going to help him going into the corner as they come across the straight. You're going to see he's going to brake way late. He's going to have a better run into the corner there. 44 did not have a great exit, and they're going to be side by side going into one.
Side by side down the front stretch with an hour 45 to go. I think Trey made that mistake earlier. Now it was my turn, I guess. Hines defending on the inside gives a lot of room. No, he's going to give that spot up. So he gives up the race lead to Swarm Racing 3 and is going to facilitate that pass very, very easily. So Dave Hines gives up the race lead. Honestly, inside the last 2 hours, I'm really surprised that he just gave Liam the lead that easily. I get being safe here. It is an endurance race. There's still an hour 45 to go. However, you are racing for a race win. I'm surprised that he didn't try and challenge him just a little bit. But at the same time, Liam caught him for a reason. Liam's faster, so I do understand that as well. Just to recap everybody again, you can and in our opinion, we urge you to at least consider donating to Operation Motorsport at operationmotorsport.org/donate. And we want to thank, of course, all of Operation E-Motorsport's partners here. We've been talking about them for the entire Operation E-Motorsport iRacing League season. An ergonomic sitting position means a comfortable position with perfect seat contours and innovative features that support your body. Recaro Automotive makes driving fun, be it on the road or racetrack. Redcom products help protect lives. Redcom products are installed in the highest levels of government, and some of the most important conversations in the world are held on Redcom equipment. Today, Mobil 1 Racing OW50 protects the next generation of America's sports cars on the track, while Mobil 1 Advanced Synthetic is still found under the hood of every Corvette off of the track. No matter where the hood of your Corvette is located, it's always been Mobil 1 from day one. Of course, we just want to thank everybody involved with this iRace of Remembrance one more time. It's truly been a great day of racing so far here at Sebring International Raceway. And we've mentioned it before. I mentioned it towards the top of the show. I think Joe mentioned it in that 2-hour period that I had stepped away for a little bit. Very fitting that we take an iRace of Remembrance to an old airfield here, Sebring International Raceway. Very, very fitting. And I believe, I could be wrong, but it was either the Thruxton circuit that we had our Grand Marshal speaking from earlier today, or Anglesey used to be involved with the British Air Force. I could be entirely wrong, but I believe there was some kind of connection there as well. So it just all makes sense. Now, again, we have this lead battle kind of shaping up. Well, it was shaping up and quickly sorted itself out as Liam, I want to say Rudzitis has gone by Dave Hines for the first position in that BMW CCA machine. Definitely put back on his back heels right here, and I guess just back on his heels, and trying to see what he can do from second place, see if he can draft back up there. The time is actually narrowing just a little bit, but I think that's mostly just the draft and the straightaway.
Yeah, it is seeming to stall out about 1.3 seconds. Rudzitis is the lead driver on that number 20 Swarm Racing 3 BMW. And this is the thing I found the most interesting out of it. You're talking about the tire, where maybe the tire fall off and a 44 is catching up with him. He was actually the last to pit of the top 5. He pitted later than the number 20, then the 70, or the 5, or the 78 for that matter. So he's actually is supposedly on a fresher tire, so I'm wondering how hard he really pushed on number 44, or if he's just trying to maybe save his tires for later in the run and then maybe try and pick it back down and overtake him through a pit cycle. Is still holding on there about around 2 seconds now, so it is staying pretty consistent to where he's not entirely out of it just yet. But like, I was surprised as well to see him just give up the lead that easily going to turn number 1, as now they set off into Le Mans heading to Sunset Bend once more.
Yeah, you guys kind of just took exactly what I was thinking. Maybe trying to save his tires a little bit for further on in the run, and then also, just giving up the lead like that. But, there's still plenty of time left. There's time to be aggressive and there's times to not be aggressive. And I think playing it smart right there might benefit him later on, further into the run as we, get down to the nitty gritty, down to the, within the last half hour of the race. So, I mean, we still got an hour and 10 minutes between then. But I expect the 44 to be back up there to regain the race lead. But, he's already lost about another half a second since we started talking about it.
Yeah, it seems like that lead battle is starting to break itself apart. We'll be keeping an eye on all the battles across the racetrack. It looks like everybody's pretty spread apart, at least for position right now. But if things start to get close anywhere on the racetrack, believe me, we'll be right on it. In fact, actually, it's worth mentioning that Adam Poppenhaus is currently making up some time here on the in the Resilience Racing esports machine on Team Crashed, who just pitted. I don't know if that was for a full pit stop. It doesn't look like it. I think it was for a drive-through for a 15 incident point violation, I would guess, based on the pit time of only 22 seconds. So Christopher Bailey put on his heels and losing some time. And man, that is crushing any time that you end up being the one who ends up going over that incident limit for your team. Certainly never what you want to do. We do also have a battle right here. This is for 9th place. Swarm Racing 1 actually gaining on S5 Motorsports, and Sean Knight currently behind the wheel of that car. And boy, that's down 8/10. So definitely closing in. But while we actually have some time here, want to bring in actually one of the other drivers from the 718, the Resilience Racing esports machine. It is Chris Walsh. And Chris, we've talked to you so much throughout the 2020, the very short time that we've been together here in 2020 with Operation E Motorsport. But man, what is it talking to you once more here?
Hey, yeah, it's good to be back involved with Operation Motorsport in the Race of Remembrance. Like, pretty awesome and meaningful event and day that this is geared towards. So I'm really enjoying just being out here and getting to race with the beneficiaries like Adam, who are just doing awesome. He's been great. Like, he's actually, funny story, he just finished moving houses, and so we haven't gotten a lot of practice in, and right now he's over visiting in-laws, so he took his rig with him over to his grandma's house. Is sitting in his garage right now, or in her garage, driving with me. So and I'm on the road as well with my rig, so like we're just in there to make it happen. So it's been good.
Whatever works, right? Now, actually, this was just ahead of Adam Poppenhaus, an incident here. This was Swarm Racing's Wilson into, it looks like Sean Knight in turn 7. Just wanted to mention this. This is the replay what happened. There's Poppenhaus coming in on the incident as Knight pulls back across the racetrack to get going. Oh, man, that could have been so close. It would have been awful timing to bring you in here, and then Poppenhaus gets in an incident. But Adam's doing great out there. Tell us about that first stint for you guys.
Yeah, I tried my best to get us on pole. Was lucky enough to be able to pull that off. The BMWs are really, really, really fast here. Like every straightaway, even if I'm tucked in right behind them, I see them just pull a tenth or two down the straights. So I have to make all that up in turns, braking, and corner speed, which the Porsche has a much better edge on, and I think manages the tires a lot better. So my goal was just kind of stay in front. I got past at one point, and then just hang with them and know that I think that with as much as it understeers in the BMW, their front tires might fall off a bit faster, and that's what happened. So I was able to build a good gap.
Yeah, we talked about the difference in cars a few times throughout the day so far. Of course, the Porsche a bit more lively, rear engine. It can certainly spring up out of the corners, but then by the time you get down to Sunset, for example, down the Ullman Straight, or even down to turn 7, once you round Big Ben, it seems like that BMW just has the motor to really get up and go and make a pass by the end of the straight. How is it like at that point? On entry to the corner, you've got to be back on your heels. I keep using that term, but you really are kind of defensive mode if they come up behind you.
Yeah, it's really important. Like my big goal was to really make sure I got as much of a gap as I could through all the turns and the infield. I guess I call it kind of the infield section, all the tighter section of the track, just so I had at least like 6/10 of a gap by Sunset. Because that usually was enough space where unless they really lunged for it, they weren't close enough to make a move. So that was kind of how I managed it, and then luckily, I was able to keep a consistent pace that I needed to, and those guys' tires ended up dropping a bit faster. So that seems to be the difference. Cornering and then tire life is a bit better in the Porsche right now.
So, Chris, we see a bunch of info about you here on the broadcast provided by, of course, Jason Leach, Opmo volunteer, U.S. Air Force liaison, active U.S. Air Force officer, U.S. Air Force Olympic bobsled team. Tell us a little bit about you and working with Operation Motorsport.
Yeah, so again, I got into sim racing, I don't know, about a year and a half ago at this point, into iRacing specifically. I started on console, as a lot of guys do, and then found Porsche Club of America, and got into their series and ended up running with their pro series for 3 seasons now. And then that was the link for me to Operation Motorsport. So, yeah, and once I found out about this mission and what these guys are about, I had to be involved and do everything I could to support them. And then I'm lucky too, because right now, like you mentioned, my job in the Air Force is to train for an Olympic sport. So I've got a bit more time on my hands than I would in my traditional career field. So I'm trying to use that in a positive way and in a way that can benefit our veteran community. So that was kind of why and how it all happened.
And of course, being active duty, it's got to be quite interesting given 2020 and just trying to navigate things. I have no clue how that's even impacted anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Olympic sports specifically. You saw the 2020 games ended up not happening. They've been pushed back to this next summer. So for us, even I'm right now at the Olympic Training Center competing in our team trial event, and yeah, there's just a lot of restrictions on everything that we have to do to be able to compete and abide by, state and federal mandates regarding the pandemic. So those are all challenging hurdles to overcome, and but everyone's doing their best to make it happen and let us find a way to compete. So that's been great.
Yeah, one can only imagine how that all works. Before we let you go here, last thing I've got for you. I actually, on the note of being active duty as well, the iRace of Remembrance certainly means a lot to a lot of people. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, so my career field in the Air Force is a special operations career field, and naturally, that lends itself to a lot of combat, and a lot of our guys see action, and unfortunately, that usually results in guys coming home with wounds or not coming home at all. So, I've had very good friends that I haven't seen come back from deployments, or have come back, with mental and physical scars, and so this day is really important to myself personally, because it's the community I've been a part of for a long time, and you know that's why I'm happy to be a part of it, and it's great that we get to honor the men and women that have made the sacrifice, that are still serving and still going downrange and doing the mission. So yeah, that's what it all means.
Well, Chris, I appreciate your time and want to congratulate you once more on taking home that championship, as I make note of that on the broadcast so everybody knows in case they didn't already, because that was quite the time. As actually, we've been watching Adam Poppenhaus right here, and he just got overtaken by Sean Knight. That's for the 10th position. So I'll let you get back down there and coach him along. Maybe you can get that spot back.
All right, thanks. You guys have a good one.
You as well, and that's Chris Walsh. And again, he won the pro category of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League. He's certainly been a great driver all season long. I have a feeling he might be about to get back into the race car here in a moment, so I think that's why he was pretty quick to leave. But we appreciate his time regardless. And actually, yeah, that's a great segue into this battle we've been watching for the last few laps. Sean Knight finally gets back by Adam Poppenhaus, and that was for 10th and 11th on the racetrack. So Adam, a little bit heavy into the braking zone, I think, just misjudged things and got a little bit deep in there, and suddenly loses a lot of time in turn 7.
Yeah, that was a very late break, and we've seen that happen a couple times. I can't remember the last time it did happen, which driver it was, but I believe it was between the Fission Sim Racing and the Rocket Surge Racing. The 5 was trying to catch up to the 70, and he did a late break just like the 718 did and almost ran into the back of him. So you've seen a lot of late sends, but I believe they just kind of forget how tight that corner really is of an angle you need to make it in. So they send in a lot deeper, and you just miss it. Because it is an easy corner to miss, don't get me wrong. It's one of the hardest braking zones on the entire circuit that you're going to deal with. You can just see how much time that really cost him, as he has to try and chase him back down for that top 10 spot. He's also got to be careful depending where the number 77 is. He is a way far back at the number 77 Whiplash Racing Aqua, but he could catch right back up if he makes a big mistake. So you got to be very careful to keep that car going in a straight line, or else he could lose some more spots rather than just lose the 10th position.
Yeah, definitely keeping the car on track is definitely what we want to do right now. Don't want to lose any more ground from what he already did. You know, we mentioned potentially prepping for a driver swap here soon. Looks like he's gained a little bit of that time back, as you mentioned. The Porsche is a lot better in the cornering versus straightaway. So now we're looking at resilience. This
is Resilience Esports 2, and so we got Brian Winker, it looks like, in the race car, and he is trying to get up to Joshua Ballier. I'm sorry, Emerson's gonna get at me for that one, but Joshua's in the car for EWRO Motorsport Orange. This is a battle on the racetrack for 14th position, and this is the car that Rick Hazlitt has been in throughout the day as well, and Hazlitt was really starting to warm things up there at the end of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League season. So his car starting to challenge here. This would be again for 14th spot on the racetrack. These guys both 2 laps down, trying to fight to be the first car 2 laps down, and that is unless Swarm Racing goes a lap down, and it looks like they will go 1 more lap down. Swarm Racing 1 in for a driver swap, and I'd imagine, in fact, there goes the leader right on cue. So this is when we'll see the final pit stop for a lot of these teams. I would expect the final driver swap to be right here. Everybody's going to be coming down the pit lane, and this is your pit window right here. This is 90 minutes to go in the race. This is when you've got to come in. That said, we're going to step aside momentarily, then bring you back to a recap of all the pit stops, and we're going to enjoy a quick message from Operation Motorsport.
Hi, this is Tiffany from Operation Motorsport, and we're here today at Shannonville Motorsport Park for the CTCC Round 2, and I have with us Mel Gallagher. So Mel's been with us for a year and a half and has filled many roles. So I'm going to let Mel talk about herself, so I'm just going to ask her a few questions rather than fill in the words. So Mel, first of all, tell me a bit about your history,
Military history. I did just over 10 years in the Army, spending time in places like Esquimalt, Orden, Petawawa. 10 years as a clerk. Didn't really, don't have much to report on that, you know? Like, it's a clerk. No offense, clerks.
And you were released?
I was medically released with a list of medical conditions, fibromyalgia, other chronic pain conditions, neck, back, feet, knees.
And a zipper in your neck to prove it.
I have a zipper in my neck to prove it, yeah.
Okay.
Ever since January.
Yeah. How did you come to hear about Operation Motorsport?
Actually, it would be Christopher Shields here at Anderson. He works with my husband, and he heard you guys were looking for hands to help with the administration last year, and I was doing nothing. I needed an out of the dark hole I was in.
And how was your first experience? Tell me about that.
Yeah, nothing like jumping in with both feet. Right into, like, what was it called? The 24-hour Daytona?
Yeah, so I have to preface that because Mel had never been to a racetrack before, right?
No.
Didn't know anything about sports car racing. And we had a brief 30-minute phone call, I think. We were already in Florida, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to come. Whoop, race car. So she was so, I guess, enthusiastic about coming that she played for race cars. Paid for her own plane ticket, paid for her rental car, and came just to see what we were all about. So I put her into a team. Well, it's pretty hard when you don't know what you're getting yourself into, right?
Yeah,
so
veteran group, it's just, you're going to click. At least you hope to.
Yeah, at least you hope to. So tell me about your first experience at the Rolex.
Oh, wow. I was put together with Carla, an absolute sweetheart in the hospitality. She walked me through multiples. We worked with Land, Montclair by Land, eEurosports.com.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all over the place, and she kept me going. But she kept me busy, and it was just amazing. I couldn't wait to do another race, to get back to the track and in that feeling again.
Yeah, it really gets you, doesn't it?
Oh, yep.
So tell me a bit about some of the other experiences you've had.
Oh, so that was my first. I mean, I've been with Tooth a few times now. I've done fuel in, fuel out. I've done tires. I've done some timing for them on the track. This weekend I'm hospitality with them again. It's just a great group of guys. I don't care what they want me to do. As long as I get to be around, I'm cool with it.
So you've done a lot of from a volunteer side, I guess, and since you've had your surgery, you've sort of switched over to the beneficiary side.
Yeah.
As the volunteer, you are event coordinator for a lot of events that we did down in the U.S. and obviously some of them up here. What's the one thing that you saw that impacted you the most?
I thought that's where you're going with that. There's a lot of weekends that, I mean, it's a lot of the same stories, but the one weekend that really hit me was at VIR, that weekend.
Yep, me
Just
too.
listening to the guys and how this organization has pulled them out of the hole. How they thought they were about to be one of the 22. And they're in the cart and they're crying with me, explaining how this has brought them out, given them that meaning again, given them that feeling, that family feeling, that team feeling. Nothing could be better than that feeling, that knowing that you're involved in an organization that does have such an impact on the guys and the girls and the girls
And the girls. Obviously.
There's a few of us.
Yeah, but you have to understand though, Mel, that part of that impact comes from you. It does.
Sure. I don't know. I'm just trying to do my part to give back to these guys.
I know. I think for me I have a lot of memories with you, but I think for me probably the most impactful was when we were at VIR after you'd had your interview, and me pulling up on the golf cart and getting off and just running up to you and us hugging, and it was just, I don't know. It was that interview with the news station. Yeah. Yep. Again, on camera, hearing. Always. It seems as soon as I start talking, it just gets me here. But it's important because that's why we're doing this. People need to understand that even if we're small and we're still growing, the impact we make makes a difference, right?
Absolutely.
One at a time. That's what our hashtag is.
Absolutely.
That's
One
how
at
we
a
do
time.
it.
And I mean, if we happen to luck out and get a couple in a weekend, even better.
Yeah. So that's all I really have to say because we're going to just start crying. So I'm going to end it right here. This is Mel and Tiffany signing out from Jenaville. One
Bye,
at a
guys.
time. Thank you.
welcome you back to, green flag action, of course, as it's been all day long. Down into the last 90 minutes, in fact, inside of the last, 84 minutes here, and things definitely starting to shake up. We did see some pit stops while we were away and listening to that message, that interview there, and really not too much has happened otherwise. Just those pit stops. We only saw a few. We're still waiting on quite a few cars come down the pit lane, although Whiplash Purple is within striking distance currently of Rocket Surgeon Racing. That said, Rocket Surgeon Racing has pitted already, and Whiplash Purple still needs to. Whiplash Purple still has David Levine behind the wheel and needs to put Tyler Langenberg back in the car to finish it out. Swarm Racing 2 now down the pit lane. Edward Nelson coming to the safety of his pit crew. In fact, oh man, there was Poppenhaus mixing up with a few more guys. We've been watching Poppenhaus throughout this little break, and man, he's been mixing it up. Actually, no, that was a different Porsche up there. Let's try and find exactly who that is. That was a different Porsche mixing it up.
Yes, I'm trying to find him as well up ahead of these guys. That is Rodever and the number 15. He is dicing it up, fighting with one of the BMWs in the number 75. That is for the 14th overall spot here in this race. That is the EWRL Motorsports Orange. He's going to take the dive bomb going into the hairpin. Let's see if he's going to clear him. Nope, he's going to give the spot fall back in line and try and set him up once more up there for turn 10. But be very careful because he's got another car right behind him. That is the, I believe, the Night Blind Racing. Nope, it's not. So that is actually the 19th place car of Mueller in the number 49. So not too much of a fight going on there for those two. It's mostly just a fight for the front two with a lap car in between. But you got to be very careful as they make their way for the run up to Tower as they get set for Le Mans.
As we see there, he completes the pass on Bellier. They're coming out of the corner. Looks like he got it cleared, and he's going to be passed again. So that gives the Porsche the position as they go down the straightaway here. Going to get set up for the straight going into turn 17.
Oh, we've got pit stop. Swarm Racing 3, the leader is in. We've got Dave Hines in as well. Both the front two cars pitting, both the front two BMWs. They're coming in and making their final driver swap of the day. We've got Murphy in for Swarm Racing. We're waiting to see who gets in for BMW CCA. And meanwhile, we also have Gen Pop Racing down the pit lane. Douglas getting in the car, it looks like, and we'll wait to see what the rest of these teams do. Hines now gets out. Kurt Poulter gets in. He started this race for BMW CCA, and he was so quick. He got them the lead earlier on, so watch out for that 44 car the rest of the way. I don't know, personally, how the speed has been from Murphy. I've got to find him here on our entry list for the number 20 machine, and we can try and draw some kind of conclusion from that, but I've not seen Murphy, I don't think this entire race, possibly? No, he must have gotten in. He must have been the second driver in earlier, so Sean Murphy gets in, and he will pilot the number 20 the car the rest of the way. He's back out. Oh, and he's got a slew of cars right behind him. We were just watching some of these cars, in fact, that he just exited out in front of, and there is the EWRL 75, along with the other cars that they were racing. I think the 15 in there. One of the other Swarm machines. In fact, that was, no, that was not the 15. That was the 982 of Swarm Racing 1, so really mixing things up here, still waiting at some pit stops. Fission Sim Racing, they're in, and looks like Tyler Gilmet is back in the car. Whiplash Racing, Purple now enters the pit lane. Team crashes down the pit lane. Theo Brolsma back in there.
Yeah, with this lead now being separated now by about 4 lap cars, the gap is still about 18 seconds. But you talk about it, Kurt Poulter now back behind the wheel of the 44. He is the lead driver for that 44 crew. We haven't seen much of him since I got here, since he only did the start. As for Murphy, though, he seemingly has been the guy that kind of like runs the middle part of the race and just holds his own and keeps the car up there in the front, and then they give it back to Rudis, and he just kind of runs away with it. But still, Murphy can hold his own. That's exactly what he's going to do now that he has to presumably take it all the way to the finish, and that's exactly what he's going to try and do. Is he has a lap car, he's going to get out of his way and let him race onward, as he's going to try and outrun that 44 machine for the remainder of this race. It is about a 17-second gap that they're going to need to overcome. With that, a train of lap traffic. So that's going to really help the number 20 of Murphy if he has to capitalize on this and spread that that lead out as far as he can, so that way when the 44 catches up to him, he has a lot longer and he can spread it up to upwards of 30 seconds, so that way he has a major amount of gap for the final hour of this race.
We swap on board with the 718 of Poppenhaus. You see him trying to get back up to the back bumper of Valier of that EWRL machine. They're coming out of Sunset Corner there, down the front stretch, going across the line. He's going to try and set that up. Actually, he gets passed down on the inside. He's going to break in. He's going to try and keep that pass. He's going to hug the inside, the wall there. He's going to stretch out. And looks like everybody kept it on the racetrack. Seen some cars been running off a little bit there. So we're going to go down turn 3 and 4. You see just the whole gaggle of cars right behind the 75 machine. You see Poppenhaus getting really, really close. Just he's going to be trying to set them up when we get near the straightaway.
And Poppenhaus is racing for the pro/beneficiary category, whereas Ballier is not. So that's something that's got to be on the minds of these drivers as well. Poppenhaus wants to get on by. He wants to start fighting for some other positions in this race. But of course, Ballier wants to hold his spot as well. He wants to finish where he is overall or better. Here comes Poppenhaus now looking to the outside out of 7. He had a run at first, and then, of course, that BMW started stretching its legs. Swarm Racing right ahead. They are all for position right behind race leader Swarm Racing 3. And then they have that night blind car of Doucette trying to breathe down their necks a little further back. He's trying to catch up. Actually, no, I don't think he's going to do so. He's 42 seconds back. But they do also have that lapped car. Oh, we just found it. The 49 car that is hanging out there with them.
Yeah, once again, this entire slew of lap traffic is going to both hinder the 20 but also help the 20. But keep in mind, if you're looking at the leaderboard there, that gap has shrunk over 2 seconds this last lap. When your cross line, it was 13.142. It is almost down to 10 seconds. So that 44 car is coming very, very fast. He's closing at about almost 2 seconds a lap now, as now the number 20 of Murphy is going to have to try and defend from Ruddy. He's going to try and take a lap back as he's looking to the inside coming into turn 17. I'm not so sure about this move, but he's going to get late on the brakes and try and pass him coming into Sunset Bend, as he's going to maybe clear him and maybe pull off a crossover coming down to the front straightaway. But this is a very interesting move being made by the number 13. Or by the number 982, my apologies.
Nonetheless, he made it work. As you see, he pulled ahead there. You see Poppenhaus also made the pass further on back. That was for I think the 14th position. And looking further forward there, this is the battle we've been following for the last couple laps. And you see Poppenhaus is going to keep trying to get in front to try to surge that lead further forward. But he's got to be able to set that up. As we mentioned, as we heard Chris talk about, these Porsches are a lot better in the corners versus the straightaways.
Watching these guys battle, this is starting to hold up. Swarm Racing 3 leader Sean Murphy just a bit, I think. Murphy trying to deal with these guys while keeping a pretty steady pace, but honestly, he's going to start to have company here. He's got to get going, and he cannot let these guys interfere with him and his race, because he's only got 8 seconds back to BMW CCA Club iRacing member, Kurt Poulter. And Kurt, I think, is definitely the lead driver over there in that 44 operation. So as Adam Poppenhaus is going to try and put a move here on the 20 car, the race leader. Wow, I'm surprised these lappers. You don't usually see this in endurance racing. The lap cars passing the race leader straight up like that, especially when the race leader had just come out of the pit lane. The EWRL car are going to try and go by as well. He wants to continue battling, and you know what? He's entitled to that as well. I think Joshua is perfectly in the right to try and keep up with those cars that he was battling right there and go on by the race leader. That said, the gap now down to 5.6 seconds. Keep an eye on that gap on the top left of your screen.
You don't even need to keep an eye on the gap anymore. You can see them on the same screen now. That gap has closed down, and I think with this lap traffic I was talking about, that would really help him. No, it's actually starting to be his downfall, because that has now opened up the door for the 44 to close in. As now here comes Murphy going to try and take the move on the EWRL machine going into 17. They're going to go side by side. He might try and clear the pass, but looks like this the 75 is going to get the run on exit, it might clear him. They're actually going to go side by side, but nope, 75 is going to get the run and then just clear him there. But that 44 car is really having the benefit of the slap traffic. We're never going to have to wonder how well can he get through while also trying to pass the number 20 of Swarm Racing number 3. So it's going to be very interesting to see how both these guys are able to tackle the lap traffic, and if they can, and be able to hold on to the race lead no matter depending on who gets it.
You know, it's frustrating. It's got to be frustrating as a driver knowing, just a couple laps ago thinking, okay, I had 16 seconds coming out of, I believe it's 16 to 18 seconds coming out of pits, and then being in the traffic, this will help clog it up. And then now you see looking on the back end, you can see the 44 right there, almost 2 seconds back. He's closing in very, very quick, just nightmare for the 20 team right there. Just lap traffic did not favor them at all.
In a lapse time, that gap has been erased. Boy, Kurt Poulter is on a drive right now, and now he's been aided by these lap cars up ahead, but he's still on a drive. You still got to execute when you're in that kind of position, and this is really going to tighten things back up once more and possibly swing this race back the way of BMW CCA. Do not go anywhere. This is amazing stuff. We do want to recap some of the other battles around the racetrack right now while these guys draw closer. Whiplash Racing Aqua, they are trying to gain up onto Team Crashed. It is about 2 seconds to that. Sorry, no, the other way around. It is about 2 seconds to Campbell in the 97 Swarm Racing 2 machine, the next car ahead. They have a lapped car behind them. There's another battle back here. We had talked about it earlier on with Adam Poppenhaus trying to gain up to Swarm Racing 1. He was there for a bit. He's fallen back to about a 1.2 second gap. EWR Motorsports Orange further behind, but this lead battle is starting to come together once more. And the draft is so big here at Sebring, as you see, there goes the 49 trying to pass EWRL Orange, and it looks like they will do so in Sunset. But this is just amazing stuff, and this is exactly what you want to see out of an endurance race like this.
Yeah, now you see the EWRL machine now comes down pit road. That is going to be good news for both the 20 and the 44, as that is one less lap car to have to deal with. As Poulter still trying to close in Mueller in the number 49 Lestock Racing BMW. He is now ahead of those two, as this fight is now right there. You can see it in the screen. In the center of your screen, the 44 has now closed in and go to 3, 4, and 5 to get set up for the bend for the long run up to one of the best passing zones that you can find on this racetrack. And the 49 goes off, and now it's going to let the 44 catch up, and now he's going to have a big head of momentum coming through bend, and we might see a lunge going into the hairpin to see if he can get that pass going.
Here we go, going down. He's not going to get it there. I guess he thought better of that. He's going to try and set him up for another corner. You see him following in tow behind him, trying to get some more slipstream, as we're going to be coming up to another straightaway here soon. So he's going to try and follow suit, try to follow his line, get as much slipstream as he can. You see going into a braking zone here, picked up about 3 car lengths going into the corner. Just late braking and draft. I mean, that's definitely paid off as we're watching it happen right now.
And of course, we keep talking about all these corners, all these possible straightaways to pass on. Let's quickly go back over the well. I think we'll wait until this battle sorts itself out, because now nose and tail are our 2 race leaders. These guys are going to start duking it out for ultimately the race win. Sean Murphy on the defensive, having to defend now from BMW CCA number 44, Kurt Poulter, who started this race for that car, was so quick earlier on, got the race lead a couple of times, now gets back in the race car to finish things out. Sean Murphy was one of only 2 drivers in the number 20, so really that 3-driver strategy actually going to work out here for BMW CCA, as they've got their guy back in the race car to finish this one out. We've got 68 minutes to go here, just inside of 69, and I mean, it's coming down to just an hour. Oh my gosh, where is Kurt going? Kurt went way out to get a wide arc, and that's why he went out there. Look at that run he gets. Up almost to the inside now, to the right side of the number 20 Swarm Racing 3. He's going to be side by side, drag race down the front straight and down into turn 1. These guys battling for the race win. Will the 20 challenge? He will. The 20 car of Sean Murphy challenges for the race lead.
These guys are really starting to get it done. Here comes the 44. Looking to the inside through turns 3. He has to get it done here. He's going to be stuck behind him for this whole section of corners. Now to 3, through 4, back through 5. They set it up for the bend. Coming under the bridge, and now they're going to set it up for the hairpin. The 44 gets to run on the exit of the corner. They're going to go side by side once more. The 44 is going to take the long way around. He does have the momentum, but it's going to stall out once you get the straightaway. Now it's going to be a game of chicken. Who wants to break later? The 44 still with the run. He might actually clear him, but the 20 looks like he's going to keep it there. They're going to go side by side through the hairpin. That's going to allow the 20 to stay ahead, and he might squeeze the 44 off the track because these guys are still door to door to the hairpin as they get ready to sit up for Fangio, Cunningham, and Collier as they once again set up for the long straightaway from Tower all the way down to Bishop.
Coming into Collier here, this is great racing, very, very tight. It's exciting. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat right now. We're going to go on board on the front bumper cam of the 44. You see right here, the battle is much closer than you think, I guess. You're going to see that he bobbled a little bit out of the corner, and he's going to take the lead.
Just one little mistake exactly like that is all that Kurt Poulter need. He pressured Sean Murphy into that small mistake out of turn 13, and it just might be over. But, I mean, there's still an hour to come back. It's just a matter of having the speed to do so, and right now it looks like the speed going the way of the 44 team. It's going to be an uphill climb, I think, for this number 20 Swarm Racing 3 gang to try and get up there and reverse this result, because I don't know if there's a way that you can get up there and do it. Kurt Poulter's so good, it seems like, in this BMW here at Sebring. I'm not sure that it's going to be all that easy to get back up there and challenge him for the race lead now that Kurt has it back. So I'm not sure he can get back up there and challenge. Meanwhile, battle on the racetrack shaping up for the 8th position. Swarm Racing 2 being approached by Whiplash Racing Aqua driver Trevor Anderson. Now down to a half second. This is that same section of racetrack we just saw those leaders battling through into Le Mans, and they will battle down the Ullman Straight. Want to quickly mention the track map that we have here. I keep mentioning all these corner names. This is how they all lay out. So we're going down the Ullman Straight right now from turn 16 Le Mans down to turn 17 Sunset. Then they'll come back around the front stretch, go through 1, 2, 3, 4, and on. Big Bend is that sweeping right-hander till you go down to the hairpin turn 7. It used to be a Fangio chicane. Now it's just a Fangio bend pretty much for 8 and 9. Cunningham and Collier for 10, 11. Exiting 12, you go down to Tower for 13 and 0 at a pit stop here for Trevor Anderson, going to really mess things up for Whiplash Aqua. I'd forgotten they got off sequence when they had the issues with Michael De La Sala's pedals, and I think this is the cause for concern for them, the cause for the pit stop as well. So Whiplash Racing Aqua back down the pit lane, relinquishing that battle to Swarm Racing 2, and I'd imagine a couple of positions in the racetrack as well. So Michael De La Sala back into the number 77 car.
And with the lead change now taking effect, the gap is now stretched out to about a 2-second lead. Something also to keep in mind that while those two have opened up the gap between each other, keep an eye on the number 70 of Burkhalter in the Rocket Surgeon Racing BMW. He is actually close 2 seconds on the 44 machine, and he's starting to maybe reel him in little by little. So maybe because of how much those two fight, it has been able to halter them a little bit, and that's going to allow the 70 team to perhaps close in the gap and make it a 3-car fight here for this race lead as he makes his way up to turn number 13. He still has that's still almost a half a minute gap to the race leader, but still with an hour left in the race, he could close that down potentially if he keeps up the momentum that he has.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, we saw how quick it was, just with those lap traffic, with that battle for the lead earlier. But, just reiterating the 70 car earlier, I've mentioned this numerous times. They started the race, had an issue. They were crab walking, on the grid, down the straightaway here, and they've worked their way up to third. And we have an hour left. I mean, that just shows keep doing, persevere, and you're going to be there at the end. And if they keep doing what they're doing with no mistakes, and hopefully for his sake that the leaders can get back to battling, he might be able to get back up and be able to bring the win.
It's a matter of time until we see how this all sorts out for each and every one of these drivers. Whiplash Purple, it seems, maybe that was just a scoring error. Yeah, it seems it was. It looked like they had been stopped on the racetrack for a moment. But it looks like it's all sorted out for them in 5th place. But really, all eyes still up on our top 3. That's really who we're looking at as in contention for this race win at this point. That's really what it comes down to. I don't see if there's really anybody else that, without something tragic happening, is going to be able to get up there. And really, with how far back the 70 car is, it's going to be tough for them as well. But they've just got such pace that you really can't count them out just yet.
Yeah, it was this late in the race. Anything could really happen. The gap has stretched out now to 30 seconds. So he has stretched the 2 seconds that he gained back. So now the 44 is now kind of just going to bide his time. He has stretched out the lead to number 20 by a solid 6 seconds. So he's already stretched out 2 laps from when the 20 crossed the start-finish line. So, yeah, once again, they put the lead driver in for the remainder of the race, and that's one of the benefits of having 3 drivers is you can be able to do that rather than split up 2 by 2 by 2. You can figure out a way to put your lead driver in there, and now he's going to run away with this race win. And unless we have a late race full course yellow, which how these guys have raced all day long, I highly doubt seeing it happen, then you can expect maybe this finishing order to be how it is unless a massive mistake comes up and it opens up the door for this race win to come back to the 20. But as of right now, the 44 is just going to be on a Sunday drive how he has been for the first half of this race to just take home this win from the looks of it.
Yeah, I was just looking back on some, some of the pit stop information. So the 70 actually pitted 2 laps before our leaders did. So, his tires are going to be a little more worn. As we were talking about there, he actually gave up about another second since we were talking about the previous time he gave up. But those tires are definitely going to be coming into wear soon, as we're actually on board with our current leader overall right now, the 44 of BMW CCA Club iRacing. Watching him wheel through these first couple corners. And you see the lap cars up ahead of him.
Things have really spread out across the entire field, but one thing that has not changed is Swarm Racing 3 still continuing to drop further and further out of reach of the race lead. BMW CCA really putting on some brilliant pace right now. Rocket Surgeon Racing hanging somewhere around the 24-second gap to Swarm Racing, so really that hasn't changed much either. Granted, they are charging on the Swarm Racing machine, but it really just seems like BMW CCA has some extra pace thanks to Kurt Poulter. It doesn't seem like really Swarm Racing is all of that slow. So this 44 car really setting a brilliant pace and looking like they are going to try and win this one. Of course, everyone wants to try to win, but only one car, one team will win this thing, and so far it's looking like it's going to be the number 44. They've just been so good all afternoon since we launched at about 11:15 this morning. 5 hours ago, right there on the dot. This 44 has just been great. They challenged early with the 718, which has since fallen out of contention. Some 2 laps down. They fought early here with Adam Poppenhaus and Chris Walsh, and really I thought it was going to be this 718 controlling the pace of the race. For a while there it was, and then some kind of miscommunication. We actually forgot to ask Chris about it when he was in here, but some kind of miscommunication really hurt the 718 car and has just about taken them out of a chance even to win in class, it looks like, because if you look at the cars ahead, I think Brian Winker actually coming down to the pit lane. I'm going to find some of those other pro/beneficiary cars, and it really looks like it's going to be one of those. And here's the number 10. They are a whole lap ahead of Resilience Racing Esports and AOA Racing entry, Adam Poppenhaus, and continuing on through these cars. I mean, it just seems like it's too tall of a mountain to climb for that 718. Although it does look like there's only the 1 car ahead, so they only have to worry about the 10 car. If something were to happen to Theo Brolsma while he's in his stint, something could still go the way of the 718.
Yeah, a lot can happen in that sense. Again, we talk about how it's 6 hours a long way. Well, 58 minutes is, even though it's been already 5 hours, it's a long way to go, and a lot can happen within that time frame. So again, you have to just drive this last hour as clean as you can. It's a race of attrition. We always talk about it. Each endurance race, as long as these, whether it's a 6-hour sprint, a 12-hour enduro, or a 24-hour grueling pace, it's just a race of attrition and make it through all of those hours. Because in order to win one of these races. You have to be there to compete for it, and that's the case of the 44 and the case of the 10. They made it through the 5 hours, and now all they have to do is just mind their P's and Q's. A little bit of a close call there for the 10. He tried to do a late corner coming down the front straightaway, and he almost actually got himself into the grass. He holds on to it as he rocks his way down the front straightaway in that Cayman Porsche GT4 as he sets it up for another lap around here into turn number 1. As right now he's just going to try and run away with it. He is in a solid position for a top 10. He's in the 9th position trying to chase down the number 987 of the Storm Racing 2, but he's all the way outside the hairpin, so there's a pretty big gap there. So right now he's going to just try and run these laps down, log these laps down, and then just take this class win home.
At that point, that's really all you can do. You're just trying to run your race, no mistakes, try to run down for that position and bring the class win home. A class win's better than no win, but obviously everybody's here to get the overall win. But as we see here, there's going to be a little bit of a bobble in front of him, almost. Contact.
And he runs right in the back of him. I wonder how that's going to hurt the front end of this 10 car. This could still keep this battle alive. If they get held up by any sizable margin, well, the right front's not too bad. I think they'll be okay. But that car that was ahead of them, that was C3 Racing. Haven't heard much out of them. The 143 just has a miscue in turn 7. We'll go back and see what happens to this number 143. Again, very quiet day for them. They've got Casborn behind the wheel. I'll quickly pull up some information on them, but very, very quiet, just deep into 7, very shaky on the exit, and I think just trying to get things under control, kind of stopped there on the nose of the 10 car. Very unfortunate, but the 143 being made up of a team involving Neil Casborn, who's in the car now, Sean Chiavarella, I hope I'm saying that correctly, and Stephen Clary, and it looks like they're all co-hosts of a racing, co-host of Spare Parts, a racing podcast, and actually Neil Casborn is a mechanic for Tooth Autosport, who we talked to the co-founders of Tooth Autosport a little while ago, didn't we? So, big stuff then for the C3 Racing machine, getting checked up like that. Not too big a damage on the back end of their BMW, but certainly not the race they want to have. They're actually 22nd of 22 cars.
Yeah, running in last place, closest car to him is a lap ahead of him. All they can really do is just run the race that they have and just not get involved in any incidents. Quiet day is the best you can really hope for when you're not running for the win. If you can't run for the win, just be as clean as you can. Bring it home in one piece. That's the number one concern, is bring these cars home. A little bit of a crossover going here between the 718 and the 75 as they're fighting on for the 14th position. A little bit of a checkup by the number 75. That's going to allow the 718 to get on the inside. They're going to run it up to corner number 10 as they're on the back bumper. That was a very interesting move being made. A little bit of switcheroo going into the hairpin, and now the fight is on for P number 14 as they make it up to turn number 10, getting into the top section of the racetrack. As this fight is starting to rage on closely, we might see that 718 make a swift dive to try and get around them. Coming out of turn 13 once again, down through this long straightaway into the quick bend of Bishop, and then the 15 and 16 for the Ullman straight. If the 718 can hold on to it, then he'll be in a position to where he can get the run to get around 25. And right now it's looking like that because he had a little bit of a wide angle going into turn number that chicane before 16. That's going to allow 17 to get all the back bumper. He has momentum. He has a toe. He's going to possibly make it the move there. But it looks like he's going to stall within the dirty air of the 75, and he might have to take a lunge going into 17. Whether or not the 75 wants to take a protective line is up to him. But still, this fight is raging on hard as they set it up for Sunset Bend, as they set it up for the front straightaway once more. Going to see if the 718 can get the run out the corner to make it the pass work.
You see Markle going on very defensive. 718 going to go to the falling right into tire tracks. I thought he was going to go to the right of him, try to set up the pass going into one. It looks like he's still going to follow suit back there. So it looks like they're still single file. Going to go out of turn 1, heading into 2 and 3. He's going to set up, shoot down the inside. Not going to quite get it there, but you're going to see it here. He's going to clear him now. Oh, it's going to be close. There it is.
Markle finally just made a mistake, but he's going to get a big run through Big Ben. He gets back to the right side of Poppenhaus, and he's going to challenge him once more down to turn 7, down to the hairpin. Oh, and he moves over, but there's the crossover. I think that's a repeat of a lap before. Poppenhaus up the inside. He makes the pass. He is clear of Tyler Markle, and finally, I think this battle may be over. The BMW is so hard to pass, but when a Porsche is truly faster, I think the Porsche can set sail and start building a gap, so I'm not too concerned about that battle at this point. I think Adam Poppenhaus has a slight edge over Tyler Markle at this current point in time. Looking through the rest of the field, Resilience Racing Esports, actually, this is for position as well. They are one of the pro/beneficiary entries designated by the green number plate, the green mirrors, the green end plates in the wing, and the green banner. That's Hunter Reeve, actually, in that car from Team Hujas, but he's actually racing for Resilience Esports this evening. He could get up to 15th place overall, and he could get Tyler Markle here. We'll have to wait and see how that all works out. Tyler, he's not quite done, but he's really overdriving that BMW right now, getting it a little bit sideways on corner exit, really driving the wheels off it and trying to do something with it. Up ahead, Dean Doucette, maybe? I think that's the first name. Let me double check on that. It doesn't feel right, actually, but it is a Doucette, that I know. And the number 2 car, I'm going to keep referring to our entry list here. Doug Doucette. I don't know why I said Dean. That was just the name that came to mind. But Doug Doucette here for Night Blind Racing, trying to check into the battle here with Rick Hazlitt. That would be for 12th on the racetrack. But while all of this evolves, if you will, while all these battles kind of take place and start to work themselves out, we'll see if we have some races on the racetrack. We are going to step away for just a moment and we'll perform our last sub, if you will, our last crew change, and we'll be right back to you here momentarily after a message from Operation Motorsport.
On average, 22 veterans from North America commit suicide every single day. That's one veteran for every second of this video.
Hi, I'm Tiffany from Operation Motorsport, and we're here at CTMP for CTCC, first round of our Back to Racing with Theo.
Hi, everybody.
So I'm just going to ask Theo a couple of questions. As you can see, we are all masked up, and you'll have to pardon us. It's a little bit hard to breathe and talk at the same time. So, Theo, I know that you've done some track days at Calabogie. Can you tell me, how's it feel to be back at the track?
It feels really good. Just being here, competing again, I'm a pretty competitive person. So, Calabogie, the races were fun, but they're kind of like an intro to the season, getting warmed up again. This is the first real competition again. So we got a field of about 7 or 8 TCR cars, and it's looking like a good season for that. So,
what's the best part about being here today, this weekend?
I don't really know. No. I don't really know. Nothing really comes to mind. I really like it.
It's just that whole atmosphere.
Yeah, the whole atmosphere, just being out of the house again. Yeah.
What did you do for the last 4 months?
I finished up what school I was doing. Finished off my semester, and then I didn't do much. I went home. I worked on the Supra project car a lot. Way too much. Still not done, but whatever.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So, how has coming back to the track or knowing that this is what's going to happen, how's it affected your mental health?
It's definitely been like a bit motivating. Kind of as a goal that I need to, keep working out, keep taking care of myself to get ready for this, so I can perform again. And it's nice to see that I am in a good place now.
So you're not tired or beat up or anything?
No, I can show up and do like 3 back-to-back 18-hour days, and I'm fine.
And you're fine. Good.
Yeah.
So you've been with Operation Motorsport for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
If you can think back, I guess upon reflection,
yeah.
How has this helped you?
It's definitely gave me direction, and that's the biggest thing, I think. Because coming out of the military, I was really not sure of what I wanted to do. And even though I'm still not sure of what I want to do, ever, it's definitely it gives me a way to learn and a way to progress in a meaningful way. And that's been really helpful.
So has it encouraged you to try new things?
Oh, definitely. Because of this racing, I started doing some go-karting last year, and I'm just about, right after this race is done, I'm going to go over to Goodwood and do a go-karting race there. And I definitely got into that because I was into this racing.
What's the difference in your relationships that you would say within the team atmosphere here as to what it was like in the military?
It's actually really similar. Really similar dynamic. Actually, a little less swearing on the teams. the racing guys won't believe that, but it's true. And a little less professional here, but not professional. That's not the right word. A little less stuck up.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So the last question I have, for me, is what's the worst part of the day?
Waking up and no, I'm joking.
I agree.
The worst part about this weekend is that we had so much to do on Friday. It was like back-to-back sessions, 5 sessions in a day. And then Saturday and Sunday, it's like, get here super early in the morning, do your qualifying, and then sit around for 4 hours.
And do nothing.
So,
okay.
It's a little bit of hanging out. I think I'm going to take the cart around and go explore and find some more friends and say hi, do that sort of thing.
So I have a question from Ron Tomlinson, and he asks, what drove you to join the military? He doesn't understand what would make you take that path, and everybody's answer is different.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that one for a little bit. I don't think there was any single defining moment or anything like that. I always liked aircraft and I liked flying, and from that came a kind of an obsession with the technical side of it. And so I did want to do engineering for a while. My whole family's engineers, but I also wanted to do something a little different. Right getting out of high school, I did a 5th year high school because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I took a year off and did some other small-time jobs, and still didn't really know what I wanted to do, and kind of really wanted to get out of the house and get away from my parents a little bit and do my own thing. And the military was giving me an option to do that.
Yeah.
And so I already had an interest in it because of cadets and all that other stuff. So it seemed like a really logical step.
So you sort of knew that was what I had said to Ron.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of, some people do cadets beforehand or are in the reserves, so they sort of know what they're getting into, and some of them don't.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you, Theo. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'll let you take that off.
Welcome back, race fans, to the back 45 minutes now of the iRace of Remembrance. It has been an amazing day. When we first started Pit Stop TV, I don't know if we ever expected to be covering a 6-hour event, let alone one of this magnitude. We've covered it all day, what this event means to so many people, and standing in place, at least to the best of its ability, of the real Race of Remembrance held at Anglesey Circuit over 12 hours as opposed to 6. Man, it's been a pretty powerful day. It's been a pretty significant day for us, for Operation Motorsport, and everybody else involved. I want to thank you and everybody else tuning in, everybody that has been involved with this iRace of Remembrance of the Operation Motorsport iRacing League, for everybody's support. It's certainly been an amazing day. We were keeping in tabs with some of these race battles across the racetrack. Tyler Markle for EWR Motorsports Orange was having a great battle there for a little bit with Hunter Reeve of Resilience Racing Esports. We also saw Sean Knight battling with Roy of Night Blind Racing. That was some pretty good stuff. Now we see Tyler Gilmet battling here with Dustin Burkhalter and Rocket Surgeon Racing. So great stuff through and through. We also need to welcome Joe Donahue back to the booth. It was a little bit of a break there for you, Joe, but glad to have you back to finish this one out.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I got to get in a little bit of time on my fluid mechanics homework. Oh boy, what a fun time that was. And yeah, we get to close out this awesome race. It's been really exciting. I've been following while away, and everything seems to be going really well. I like that we're getting the sunset. We were just talking about that during the break. We're starting to see the temperatures are going to come down. You know, everything's going to start getting a little bit more optimal for these cars to perform a little better, because they do that when the temperature goes down a little bit. Now, obviously, this is a slow progression, but it is nice to see the sunset. It's nice to see that the 70 and the 5 car on your screen right here are still battling. Since the last time I left, they were together, and over that hour, they stayed there.
Yeah, not really too much has changed. Just over the course of the break, we mentioned the battles that were going on, but overall, the standings haven't changed. As you see, 44 still leading. Swarm Racing has fallen back to 20 seconds now. And then Rocket Surgeon, which we are looking at right now, sitting in third. And Fission Sim Racing is fourth. And Whiplash Purple rounds out the top 5.
Speaking of Whiplash Racing Purple, we've got a driver to talk to once more. And, well, you know what, let's actually hold off just for a moment. I want to see how this battle turns out, because they're driving by a lapped car here, and this is for third place on the racetrack. Rocket Surgeon Racing, Dustin Burkhalter still having to defend from Tyler Gilmet down into turn 4. No, that was turn 15, rather. They'll head down to, no, that was 14, wasn't it? But, yeah, it's all just kind of a conglomeration, I suppose, of twists and bends here at the back end of Sebring. They'll head down the Ullman Straight. We'll be talking to David Levine shortly, so I know David's watching. David, stand by. This battle is just too good to leave right now. We want to see how this works out, as Gilmet finally going to mount a charge to the inside here. Great stuff. He gets by Dustin Burkhalter.
Yeah, these two, like you said, it's been a back and forth between these two all the way through this one. And down the inside there, just that last turn here at Sebring is a good one for passing, but it's hard to stay in front, because we've seen it that you can kind of pull an over-under move. So obviously the Fission Sim racing car was able to successfully pull off that pass without any undercuts or overcuts in response from Rocket Surgeon. But definitely don't count them out. These two have stuck together, and we know that 70 car's been fast all day long. And yeah, it's just a good pass, clean and easy from Fission Sim, but definitely wouldn't stray away from it too much, because these guys have been putting on an excellent show for us.
Yeah, continuing to put on the show. You see he pulled away a little bit, but just going through the first couple of corners there, he hasn't really lost too much ground. Going into 7 now, we're gonna go into that hard braking zone. You're gonna see him brake a little bit later. Was hoping we wouldn't see anybody break loose coming into turn 7, or out of turn 7 rather. Looks like they keep that going. He's lost about a second. So he'll be working very, very hard to get that time back, to try and get back to that third spot.
While that battle separates and everything else on the racetrack kind of calms down, we'll bring David in now. And David's been a great friend of us here at Pit Stop TV. And David, currently watching Tyler get a little bit squirrely there out of turn 1, heading down to 2 and 3 in this kind of, it feels like an infield portion of a race course, even though it's all just one field, I suppose.
Yeah, I know Tyler and I have been kind of struggling between the two of us with our Whiplash Media 78 car, keeping the tires underneath us. I know it's kind of the same for everybody, but I guess, with this fixed setup and Tyler being more accustomed to the Porsches, to the Cayman, and me being, accustomed to Ford Mustangs and Spec Miatas, the driving styles for this setup are a little bit different than what we're used to. So we've been having a little bit of difficulty keeping the tires underneath us. So seeing Tyler get a little squirrely through the infield section, as you called it, is all too familiar sight for the day.
And of course, we've talked about the differences between the Porsche and the BMW all day. Now, Tyler usually goes with the Porsche when faced with a choice between the GT4 cars, but going with the rest of the team and driving the BMW today, and I think it's clear, I think he'd be a whole lot quicker in the Porsche, but it seems like, well, at least through the corners, I think he'd be more in control, more at home, but I think at a place like Sebring, despite how important these corners are, with all the straightaway, it just goes the way of the BMW.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with you guys on that. I think the BMW is definitely the stronger car down the straightaway. Even though that Cayman is a little bit smaller and a little bit slipperier, I think the BMWs we've seen all day. I think there was that battle between Chris Walsh and the 75 car, which was just it was. The 75 car would just yank him down the straightaway, and Chris would have to do all that he could to draft up and stick with him, and then really just had to wait for a mistake before Chris could pounce and then kind of check out, which is, like you said, it's definitely one of the bonuses of multi-car racing, just kind of seeing the differences between the two cars, even though the lap times might look relatively similar. It's, these cars get their lap times in completely different ways.
Yeah, going from an all-Miata league to getting a choice between a BMW and a Porsche is certainly a big bonus here. I'd like to keep these, actually. Even add the TCR to Season 2, possibly. Jason, if you're listening, this is this is a little message. But, watching you guys battle it out with everybody else, I mean, it just seems like while the Porsche and BMW, of course, come out to about the same lap time, there's a clear favorite right now with all of these straightaways. And you go to a place like, I don't know, Road Atlanta, it's going to be entirely different, where the Porsche, despite the long straightaway from 7 down to 10, the Porsche has the edge in every other corner on the racetrack. And I've seen a lot of GT4 races lately go the way of the Porsche. I'm so surprised to only see 4 of them out here.
Yeah, I think, Road Atlanta and, probably be pretty evenly matched for cars like these. You go to a place like Mid-Ohio or Lime Rock, or you head overseas to a place like Alton Park or something like that. I think definitely the Cayman would be where you want to be. But a big old place like Sebring, Daytona, as Tyler, hang on to it, buddy, good catch. It's definitely interesting, and I'm sure Tyler would blame that right there on not being in his favorite Cayman as opposed to my BMW.
Well, I'll tell you what, the BMW certainly looks good. It's got a stark look to it. It really does. It's magnificent, honestly. It looks really, really good, really, really aggressive. And that's not to say the Porsche doesn't look good itself, but just something about that BMW looks good, looks aggressive. Now, you actually have some experience racing some BMWs in similar spec to what we've got on track today. Tell us about that.
Yeah, back in 2011, 2012, I believe it was still the Grand Am Series at the time, the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. I was running with Bimmer World Racing in the ST class. So not as much downforce, not as much mechanical grip as the M4 we've got today, not as much, obviously, aero. We did have ABS like we do have today, but we definitely didn't have any traction control, which is really nice. It's really nice today. You can kind of set and forget. Yeah, we're vaguely pointed out of the corner, mash the gas, the computer will figure it out for us, which is, it makes life easy, especially on one of these 6-hour races. Just to not really be worried about spinning up the tires and killing the tires, more than a place like Sebring already does.
Yeah, I mean, the track isn't all that hot. It's relatively cool, at least for Sebring, Florida. Let's actually pull up the weather. I don't think we've done that all day long. It's actually a relatively fair set of weather conditions here. Track temp only at 78 degrees. Isn't that convenient for you and Tyler? A really calm day. Winds are very calm. It's been partly cloudy, I think, most of the day. I think Theo said earlier that it was a little bit cloudier in the early morning, and it's, I think, starting to pick up a few extra clouds, some haze here as we go into the evening. But while Sebring's pretty hard on tires, I think still a pretty easy day just in terms of weather.
Yeah, definitely. I know one of the nice things about sim racing as opposed to real life racing is we can all sit here in our houses in the air conditioning, and it might be 95 degrees outside or 80 degrees at the racetrack, and we're sitting here in the nice cool air conditioning, which is great. But it's definitely something that we don't have to worry about here on in this iRacing Race of Remembrance today. That we don't have to worry about the motor temps as much, in the tire temps. They still get there just because of this old worn out racetrack, but it is nice to not really focus on that. But I say that, and during Tyler's first stint, he had a little bit of contact with the teammate in the 78 car. And we did have to monitor our temps for the last ish half hour of Tyler's first stint. So you say it's not really a factor, and we're sitting there for a half hour going, "Oh, can we make it a half hour? Can we make it a half hour?" But thankfully, the Tucson Sound Art and permanent makeup cryo car was able to withstand that, and we're looking pretty decent with a half hour to go.
Well, we are nearing 30 minutes to go in this one. David, I'll turn you over to then Joe and Trey if they have any questions for you as well.
Well, David, obviously, we talk about Operation Motorsport and everything they do. I want to get your input on if you have any personal ties to the mission of what Operation Motorsports is all about.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Can't say enough about these Operation Motorsports guys and everything that they do for the brave men and women in the armed forces. Not just the U.S. Service, but any all of our allies across the world. We can't say enough for everything that they do for all of these servicemen and women. I have a couple friends that they've helped both at the racetrack and through the sim. I know a couple guys are definitely watching. And then I've got some friends, too, that are currently active duty, one in the Marine Corps stationed in Okinawa, and another buddy with U.S. Army in Germany. So big shout out to them. But I really just can't say, enough about Operation Motorsports giving the opportunity to be, in the motorsports world to these totally awesome servicemen and women. Just kind of trying to give back. And, we're here today racing, obviously on Remembrance Day, in remembrance of those who have sacrificed everything for us to be able to do a race like this. But we're going to be forever thankful for those that have given their lives for us, and ones out there now protecting us, so we can enjoy a Sunday drive here at the old Hendricks Field down in Sebring.
Right on. I'm going to pass them forward to Trey because see if Trey has any questions to ask.
You guys pretty much knocked out every point I was going to hit, and I don't really have anything for you, David.
I appreciate the daylights out of you guys, and again, can't say a big enough thanks to all those men and women overseas and over here, allies or United States service that do everything for us. Really appreciate you guys, and a big thank you to everybody else that's made the sacrifice to let us do this today. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, David. Definitely appreciate your time. And I'm sure we'll be talking a whole lot more. Thank you for representing us as well there in the 78 car. And, well, he drops out. But certainly appreciate everything that David has done for us and giving us his time there those last, 10, 15 or so minutes. Boy, it has certainly been a heck of a time here today. And, man, I've been saying it all day. This race means a lot to a whole lot of people, and it's a massive honor to be able to bring this to all of you watching at home, and we thank all of you watching us home at home as well. It means so much to us to be able to be involved in an operation like this, Operation Motorsport, and it's incredible, incredibly humbling, incredibly honored to be able to do this kind of thing, and it's been an amazing day so far of coverage here at Sebring. Hopefully we've done our best up here, making it look pretty good for everybody, and actually we have a chance to make it look even better because we have a battle on the racetrack. As you can see, some haze back there as we enter the golden hour just about, as Chris Walsh is actually in that 718 car now for Resilience Racing Esports and AOA Racing, and he's making a move on Hunter Reeve.
Yeah, so Hunter got that run out of the corner, but the 718 is going to jump in his draft down the front stretch here, and it will wait to see if we get into the braking zone and we see a dive from the 718 right here. He looked out, but it was too quick. Has to dive back in again. 718 Porsche right behind. Coming down the inside out of the first turn, or at least putting pressure on the Beamer in front of him, but it didn't quite work out, so the 718 is going to stick in behind. These two are teammates, although the 718 is a joint entry. These two cars both racing with resilience, so they're going to definitely not try to be running into each other, but a nice battle to be seeing on the track right now.
Racing with resilience. I don't know if you... Yeah, this is also for position. You know, teammate, you're going down into turn 7. We're going to see it going to be tight. Coming out of a little kink and a bend there. 718 of Walsh not really getting much ground made up quite yet. He's going to try and set it up here, going into another braking zone. He's just going to follow in suit right behind him.
Yeah, this is second place in the pro beneficiary category, so this is an important battle, actually. This is for the bottom 2 positions on the pro beneficiary podium. Chris Walsh trying to move him and his teammate Adam Poppenhaus up to second place in class, while Hunter Reeve is trying to hold himself in second place and not drop into third. So very, very important battle here between technical teammates, despite being in separate cars and having the AOA signage there on the side of the 718. We'll see what Chris can do into Le Mans. And down the straightaway, we'll see if he can do anything with them. Once more, I want to thank everybody for tuning in this afternoon. And actually, we're going to step away to a different battle right quick, because Gen Pop Racing's Douglas is all over the back end of Really Slow Motion Racing. Now, Really Slow Motion Racing has had a very quiet day as well. They started out with a pretty tough run-of-the-mill, actually, early on, and they have since gotten up into 6th place, so just a very quiet day, doing exactly what they've got to do and running as quickly as they can, putting themselves into a pretty solid spot. First car 1 lap down, and we cannot go away from that battle just yet, because Chris Walsh, oh my, he makes a move. He's going to look, no, he's going to dip back in behind the back end. Now he makes the big late move to the inside of Hunter Reeve. This is through turn 1, and I think he's going to have it. Out of turn 1, through the bend of turn 2, down to turn 3, another heavy braking zone for these guys. Can Chris Walsh get the spot? He's going to do it in 3. Can Hunter cross him over? No. Wow, great stuff, and that's why Chris Walsh was the pro champion.
Yeah, Chris Walsh did an excellent job executing that little complex right there. You saw him into turn 1. He ran the inside line, and I was at least expecting that the number 7 would be able to carry some momentum around a higher line through that first corner and be able to keep the car going a little quicker, maybe get a run through 2 and 3. But the 718 car right down the inside, Chris Walsh managed to hold on to some speed with that car. And then through the kink, obviously the kink not as much of a factor as turn 3, where you get into a sharp 90-degree turn, and had the preferred line easily through the inside. But like Andrew said, it was whether or not the 7 car was going to make an over-under crossover attempt on the 718. But luckily for Chris, he carried a lot of momentum, and I'm actually pretty surprised he stuck that car out through turn 3, that he kept it on the racing line, because he was going pretty quickly out of the inside line of that corner. But he apexed it really nicely out of turn 3, and not only did he have more momentum than the 7 in the first place, but he also cut off the space where that BMW maybe could have gone if he had a run.
So we're looking on board of the 7 car right now. We see him trying to chase down the 718 of Walsh. As we're going out of turn 16, my apologies. We're going down the straightaway, heading into Sunset Corner. As you can see, the sun is starting to set there. The glare, gosh, I don't even want to imagine.
It's named that way for a reason, for sure.
Right, that is definitely where they got the name. You're going to see him. He's going to try and hug that inside ground to get to that wall. Just looks like Walsh has the better cornering there, and he's just going to surge ahead. He's going to try and use that slipstream down the front stretch across the stripe, see if he can get anything for turn 1.
I don't think Hunter's got anything for him. Chris Walsh is just so good, and he was so good earlier on. I think easily the best driver on the racetrack. Just again, whatever happened in that first pit stop really sidelined that 718 car, has them 2 laps down, and just trying to fight back up through the field. So great pace in that 718. Even Poppenhaus is doing a great job, but unfortunately just whatever set them back in the beginning has held them back there, and not much else they can do about it. Now, earlier on, when the pass was made by Kurt Poulter for the race lead for the BMW CCA, boy, it looked like maybe, just maybe, Sean Murphy could hang on, and he actually had 24 seconds back to third place. Well, now it's down to just 8 seconds. And with 23 minutes to go, this could certainly keep narrowing, especially if Sean Murphy runs back into some lap traffic that holds him up here. Sean Murphy headed down the Ullman Straight, as is Tyler Gilmet. So certainly starting to narrow, and if Gilmet can continue to use lap traffic to his advantage, and if lap traffic continues to hurt Sean Murphy, this second place battle is not over.
Most certainly not. And Gilmet in that number 5 machine, we've talked about that car, at least I've talked about that car with my pleasurable experience in this broadcast a lot. That team, the number 5 car, Vision Sim's just been very consistent and very strong throughout the entirety of it. And you're seeing it right now as he's slowly trying to trek in and catch up to the Swarm Racing car, which, don't get me wrong, that number 20 machine has been fast and doing well all day, even holding onto the leads for handful of laps over at the start of the race, and then also while I was away and Noah was here helping with this broadcast. So for Gilmet to be gaining time right now, are we surprised? I don't know if I'd say we're surprised, but I'm certainly happy to see that these two closing in on each other could be making some exciting racing as we've only got about 22 and a half minutes to go. So if he can close in quick enough, we might have a nice race at the finish.
So we're currently watching the onboard of the 5. We're seeing him trying to get up too close to the back bumper of that Gen Pop Racing number 42 machine. Trying to get around to him. Lap traffic up in front. You can see further up in front of him. He's going to take the inside line here, going into the braking zone out of turn 8 and 9. Looks like he's going to get by, no issues there.
And watch that gap at the top left, because it's now down to 7 seconds. Inside of 7 seconds, actually, for Tyler Gilmet. He is making tons of time up right now on the number 20, and it's just everything's going his way at the moment. He's got the pace to get up there. It's going to be close if he actually gets there within our time limit, of course, a 6-hour race, and it's going to come down to the last few moments here at Sebring International Raceway. Maybe not for the race win, but at least for second place. It could still come down to it for the race win, though. I mean, nothing is out of the book just yet. Anything can still happen in this one, and man, I mean, to still have 5 cars in lead lap as well after 6 hours is pretty astonishing, and I'm very happy to have such a competitive race over the course of 6 hours. I see a lot of 6-hour endurance races go the way of just being so spread out that it's hard to even follow, because everything is just spread all out over the place, and really the broadcast just ends up being hanging out. But we've had action all race long. There's been some kind of action around every turn, and this has certainly been one of the better 6-hour race experiences I've ever had, whether as a driver, a team, or a broadcaster now as well. Chris Walsh back on the assaults here of now Rick Hazlitt. These 3 Resilience affiliated cars in a row. Rick Hazlitt in for Resilience 2, Chris Walsh in for Resilience AOA, and, well, Hunter Reeve in for Resilience 1.
Yeah, if you were the Resilience PR team, I would say that was a perfect photo op to get all those cars together, but certainly the 718, the Porsche, trying to get around 59 here, and down the front stretch, he looked like he got a nice run out of the corner, so maybe by the time they get to turn 1, he'll be able to put a pass down on that car. But it's been running pretty smooth for these Resilience guys. They've had a up and down day. They've had some issues of their own in their own right for each car, but at the current moment, they're all at least running pretty solidly, and that's what we really want to see at the end of this race.
You want to talk about making passes. You see them, they're getting really, really tight right there, coming up through, I think this is turn, 6. I'm looking at the wrong end of the racetrack here. We're coming up on turn 7 right now. There we go. These Resilience teammates, you see Walsh further up ahead. Looks like he's going to just keep surging ahead there. You know, we mentioned these Porsches definitely have the advantage in the corners rather than the straightaways, and you know, we're seeing it now, just play factor of he's just keeps surging ahead.
Yeah, it's been one of the storylines all day long since the green flag dropped. How are these Porsches and BMWs going to differentiate? Because, again, the Porsche's better in corners. The BMW is better on the straightaway. Team Crashed was 3 seconds behind Swarm Racing 2, actually now goes very wide in turn 7. Looks like that gap is going to now widen back out. Meanwhile, the gap from 3rd up to 2nd place. Oh, Swarm Racing in the pit lane. This is massive for 2nd place. Swarm Racing 3. Sean Murphy down the pit lane. They've got to relinquish P2. This is killer for that team. This could take them out of the top 5 entirely. We'll see how long the pit stop is.
Yeah, this is certainly not what you want to see when you are competing in a race that you come down to the last 20 minutes or so, and all your competitors are going to be running to the end, but you have to relinquish your position to come into the pits. I'm not sure if this was scheduled or unscheduled, or if something's wrong with the car, or what led to this situation unfolding that now we've got a pit stop for the number 20. But that's a tough break. That really wasn't what he needed. Even though the gap was closing very, very quickly between the 20 and the 5, that Fishin car was actually only about 5 seconds back when the 20 came into the pits. So obviously he was gaining time pretty quickly, and it would have been a nice battle to see. Not sure what happened here that the strategy just resulted in having to pit with 17 minutes to go. But yeah, you see that car came back out in 4th position on track. So luckily for the number 20 team, they will stay in the top 5. Yeah, that's not the kind of thing that you want to be stuck doing with like 15 minutes to go in your race.
Yeah, luckily for them, they were only able to lose, drop back to 4th. You see further on back, Whiplash Racing Purple was, they're about 45 seconds behind them as we speak. So, I mean, they've definitely got some time to make up. They got 30 or so seconds to get to the 70 of Rocket Surgeon Racing.
Watching a battle for 12th, 13th, and 14th still. Oh, actually, that's one of the EWRL cars. That was the 75. No, oh, we've got an incident between them. Oh, dear. That's one of the Resilience cars. That was Rick Hazlitt that gets turned, and that was Tyler Markle, I think? Or was that the other EWRL car? No, I think that was the 57. We'll get a look back at it here. It was the 50s. Oh, he popped the curb. Oh, no. Oh, and right in front of Swarm as well. And you can tell that was not intentional at all. He got on the binders as soon as he could. Oh, my. That is definitely not what you want to see here in the last 20 minutes. Somebody picking up some damage. That was Jesse Lamazier, I think is how we were told to pronounce it. Emerson helped us out with that earlier on. And, oh, my, I want to take another look at this one.
Yeah, so Lamazier looked like he just got the corner a little. Well, he moves out of the way right here, lets the car through, but he pops the corner like Andrew said. I mean, he just ran out of racing room, and there's the track gets tight there, and when you're side by side, it's very easy to get too close together, and certainly they didn't want to run into each other like that. But the Resilience guys, and they're just trying to make passes, trying to get around the lap traffic and run clean on their own. But when the track gets tight like that, and you're obviously trying to relinquish position to the cars who are lapping you down, and you don't want to hinder the people up at the front end, because this 57 team is further back in the order, so definitely not what he wanted to do there. But I mean, the track gets tight, and you try to be respectful and get out of the way, but you can only do so much.
Yeah, definitely. The track just, even in that particular spot, it gets smaller very, very, very quick. Now we're on board with Team Crashed. We're watching. Oh, the gap ahead now. We're on board with him, looking up to Swarm Racing, trying to go in and take that 8th position away as we go into turn 7 now. He's going to get onto the brakes a little bit later. He's going to hope for a bobble. Doesn't look like anything's happened there. Really good corner for him. We're going to go out of 7 through 8, up through 9.
And this is the battle for 8th and 9th on the racetrack. It's separated by still 1.3 seconds or so, but certainly Swarm Racing 2 not out of this just yet. They can still get past here by Team Crashed. And actually, Team Crashed is the pro beneficiary leader right now. They currently lead in that class. You see again the green markings on that race car denoting that as one of the pro beneficiary cars. So they're ninth overall, but first in their category. The next car in said category would be, I do believe, the 718, a full lap down to the number 10. So certainly, I think they've got that pretty solidly right now as Chris Walsh is down the front straight. Checking back in with the race leader, though, 34 seconds now back to Fish and Sim Racing. This 44 is looking pretty stout.
Yeah, this 44 team, they've been very solid all day long. We've been talking about how much of a gap they've held throughout the course of the race. Obviously, they had relinquished the lead for a short period of time, but have gained it back. And in fact, a 33-second, almost 34-second lead over the number 5 team right now. Pretty smooth sailing for the 44 team. And obviously, coming to the checkered in a little under 13 minutes, if they lead it to us, it'll be well-deserved. They've put on a Class A performance, putting that car up at the front end of the field and keeping it there, staying smooth and clean and avoiding any sort of threat from their competitors behind them. But at the same time, I don't want to give them the commentator curse. There's still 12 and a half minutes to go in this race. Anything can happen, certainly, and very often does. But for the time being, so long as the 44 team can keep that car in good shape and run it out to the finish with little aggression and be smart with that car, we could see Kurt Poulter, Matt Kalish, and Dave Hines at the end standing on top of the podium.
We're on board with our current leader. You see him going through turns 3 and 4 right now, on board, going through some lap traffic, coming through turns 5 and 6 here momentarily. Going to hit up turn 7 here now. You know, as you mentioned, he's pretty much just going on a Sunday drive. Got 35 seconds to the car behind him. Just got to really keep hitting his marks and worry about what's in front of him. But other than that, I don't think they have anything to really worry about right now.
Yeah, just watching things play out right now, and he's got a lapped car ahead. That's the number 2 car of Roley for Night Blind Racing. That's up ahead of the 44, but just smooth sailing at the moment, and there aren't too many battles on the racetrack, but one that is shaping up is with Team Crash and Swarm Racing 2. Theo Brolsma trying to gain an extra spot here before this is all over, and that's not the battle. There it is. You see the Porsche of Theo Brolsma trying to get one more spot. That would be for 8th place on the racetrack. That's really the only battle that's shaping up at this point. Everything else is pretty well sorted out, or lead lap cars, passing lap cars, or what have you. So as we come down to 10 minutes to go, of course, we've been talking about each of these battles and each of these drivers, each of these teams getting pretty competitive. They all want to finish first. However, when you boil it down, this race is all about one thing, and that's remembering those that we have lost, those servicemen and women who have given it their all and made the ultimate sacrifice. And there's no easy way to sum up what this race means to everybody out there watching. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We appreciate everybody from Operation Motorsport, Recaro, Sebring International Raceway, Mobile One, Redcom, everybody doing so much to make this thing happen, and it's really gone off without a hitch. This event had a lot going into it. I know maybe not the amount of entries that Jason and everybody else wanted to see. I think we wanted to fill up this field, but at the same time, it's almost been the perfect amount of entries. This has been an amazing race with 22 cars out on the racetrack, and isn't that a convenient number as well? 22 rather.
Yeah, absolutely. That 22 standing for a very important number. The 1 in 22 veterans who come home and have problems and struggle to regain a place in life, and unfortunately we see them take their lives sometimes, and that's really a shame. But Operation Motorsport is out here trying to fix that, trying to bring that number down. I forget. I think it was either Emerson or Noah said earlier, try to get that number to 21 and then to 20 and so on down to 0 before. That was Andrew's line. So it was Andrew's line who said that, but absolutely agree with the idea. And obviously Operation Motorsport is out here trying to raise awareness of that. And that's what the race is all about. And even though maybe we have 22 cars, I'd be very satisfied to see 22 teams of people coming out to compete in something that's much larger. Whoa, look out, getting loose in front of the number 10 car. the Swarm Racing machine there. But yeah, for what this race stands for, obviously, all these people coming out to support it is a big deal. And in terms of supporting Operation Motorsports, definitely we want to remind everybody that the website operationmotorsport.org has a donation link. It would be just Googling operationmotorsport.org/donate. If you feel so valued and moved by this race, and you feel like you want to try to help these guys, give our veterans an opportunity to reassimilate and learn, experience a team mentality that they're very comfortable and accustomed to in the military, in our regular society again, and work them back into learning new skills and meeting new people. This program is very important to them, but it costs money. The whole world, everything we do costs money, and any amount that you can give to these guys would be greatly valued and greatly appreciated for them to continue giving our veterans a chance to learn, have fun, and get back into a good place in life where they can be happy and satisfied with where they are. So this whole program from Operation Motorsport's a very important and very valuable cause. This charity, obviously giving these guys a great opportunity to have some fun and putting on a great show for us, but it's very important to our veterans, who we owe a lot to go out and risk their lives to keep our country safe.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Going into this race, I mentioned earlier, I didn't really know much about Operation Motorsport until last night. I looked them up so I could figure out what I was getting myself into, and then I realized what they were doing, what their cause is for, their outreach program. And then as soon as I saw there's a donate link, I went ahead and I'm donating monthly now, because I want to help these people, because I know people that have been in combat, suffered from PTSD, and I want to be able to help others that know people that experience that and help them reassimilate back into society. But nonetheless, we are still racing. We got about 6.5 minutes left. This battle's still heating up. We have Team Crash still trying to run down the 987 of Swarm Racing 2. And we're coming down into Sunset Corner with about 6 minutes and 15 seconds left. Coming down the front stretch across the line.
It's not a guest interview, but you see the URL down at the bottom of your screen. We invite you to go down there, even if you just check out the operationmotorsport.org website. Certainly worth it. And again, we urge you to consider at least donating to Operation Motorsport and helping them in their fight. Meanwhile, you've been watching this battle come to fruition this entire few minutes that we've been talking and kind of wrapping up the day. The sun is setting, as you can see. The golden hour is certainly setting in here in Sebring, Florida, and a perfect time to end this race just about. We've still got 5.5 minutes to go, but here comes Theo Bralsma. He wants this spot. This is for 8th on the racetrack.
Yeah, so looking on the outside, the team crashed Porsche. Ooh, he dove into that corner nice and deep to get up alongside the 987, who overshot the exit of that turn a lot, tried to dive in, took a late braking opportunity to stay in front of the 10 car and then slid up. So obviously team crashed. That number 10 machine could have gotten around on the inside had he ran off of the turn a little better, but the 987 kind of slowed him up and blocked the line. Oh boy, he brought a lot of momentum into that turn. The 987 BMW once more much slower in the corners, but we've said that already. We know that the BMWs do not have the advantage in the turns, and that's where this number 10 team's going to have to try to get around them, because this is the part of the racetrack where the Porsches are better. So if you can get that team crash number 10 in front of the Beamer to go down the straightaways, that would be much nicer than having to try to make that pass with some straight line speed, which the Beamers have a lot more of. But if you put your car on their tail bumper like Team Crash did right there, if you can run out of this turn really nicely and get a run, I think coming through the final turn, we could see a pass.
Yeah, if he does one of those over-under techniques, that we've seen people do throughout the course of the race, I think he might be able to get it. He's very close. He's going to have some slipstream. You're going to see him dive out. He's going to go way out here, out near the cones. And you're going to see him go straight to that wall right here on the line. Looks like he's not going to get it there. He's going to follow in suit and try to set it up for turn 1.
Theo Brolsma getting very aggressive now, trying to get that 8th spot on the racetrack overall for he and Team Crashed. And Theo's really come into his own. He's really found himself some driving chops for sure. And he got much quicker towards the end of the Miata season that we just finished up, I think a week and a half ago at Laguna Seca. And now here at Sebring in this Porsche 718 Cayman. Boy, he is quick. Oh, and he gets it. He gets the mistake there on Swarm Racing, and he goes by for 8th place. How about that from Theo Brolsma? Pressures Campbell into a mistake. Finally gets that spot. That's got to feel good for Theo and all of Team Crash. And I know Theo is one of our fan favorites out in the chat. That's got to be good. That's got to feel good for the number 10 team. Big pass right there, and that puts him into 8th overall. And he's still just putting more and more cars between he and Chris Walsh. Even if something were to happen at this point, I think Theo's really got a good shot at bringing home not the overall, but the class win here in the pro beneficiary category. So how about that for Theo and everybody at Team Crashed? I know Christopher Bailey's on that car as well. Big stuff for them. Meanwhile, up at the front, we can't forget the fact that BMW CCA Club iRacing is getting ready to put together one of the best 6-hour drives that I've seen.
Yeah, like we've been saying, they've been very clean. They've been keeping their nose clean and running their line very easily and not having any real threat over the course of this race. And that's enabled them to just be smooth and keep their wits about them. As you see, maybe a little bit of aggression right there through that turn, but the wits and the patience that it takes to get through a 6-hour race in the first place is something to be appreciated. But for them to be outclassing so many other cars so much, and obviously we can't take anything away from the rest of the top 4 and 5, especially for the Fission Sim team, the Rocket Surgeon team, Swarm Racing, and then of course the Whiplash cars. Everybody's been doing a very good job, but obviously if you can't keep up with them, they're gonna gap you, and that's what we've been seeing. The 5 teams slowly gained about 3 seconds back within the last 10 minutes or so, but obviously 3 seconds in 10 minutes with only a minute and a half remaining, you're gonna have to pick it up a little bit if you want to get it from there. But 44 team just definitely has shown a lot of class and a lot of skill to keep that car so far ahead the whole 6-hour race.
With about a minute and 15 seconds left, we see the 44 car cross the stripe going into turn 1 for one of the final times tonight. He's put on an absolute clinic. This whole team, it's been a team effort. You know, as we mentioned, Fission Sim Racing about 31 seconds back. No contention at all. All he's got to do for this final minute is just hit his marks and bring it home.
And let's just talk about the effort put forth by Kurt Poulter, Matt Kalish, and Dave Hines. They have had some amazing laps out here. They've done everything they've needed to do so far. And I think for 40 seconds more, I think this 44 car is looking pretty stout, and they've just got to cruise home. They've got 30 seconds back to second place. Just what a run from this whole 44 team for BMW CCA Club Racing. This is just great stuff. They're going to lap the EWRL Orange entry, the 75 car, once more. Going to go on by him, and just still amazing stuff here from everybody, especially Kurt Poulter, I think the strongest driver in this car, and showing why he was given the start and the finish. I think we should be coming to our white flag lap here momentarily as time expires. You see 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and time has expired here, and this may be the final lap. We'll see if it ends this time around or the next time around. iRacing's kind of tricky in that, but I believe this will end up being our white flag lap. So I believe this is the final set of corners, the final time that the 44 car and everybody else will go through these corners right here, down to Le Mans, on board with him, and just trying to capitalize and finish out an amazing run. You see the sunset up ahead. Again, going to finish this race in the aptly named Sunset Bend, and boy, going to be a perfect way to finish this one out here, looking off into the sunset and watching this 44 car win at Sebring. All they've got to do now is exit turn 17 for the final time this evening into the iRace of Remembrance, the first iRace of Remembrance. It's going to be BMW CCA Club iRacing with Kurt Poulter behind the wheel winning at Sebring. They've done it. I do believe that is race over. So the number 44 team, BMW CCA, has done it. It's some 30 seconds back to Fish and Sim Racing. Want to now check in on our leader of the. Well, I think is he still ahead? I think he's still ahead. I think he's still got to finish this lap. I'm sorry for not knowing how to speak there from him, but Theo's got to finish this lap out. He's still got to go back around, and he's got to finish this out for he and Team Crash to collect this pro beneficiary win.
Yeah, he does have to go around one more time, but we're not 100% sure if the second place car in the pro beneficiary class was behind or in front of the number 44 machine, because if he was behind the BMW CCA car, then he obviously would have gotten the checkered flag by now, and all Team Crash would have to do is just run it back to the line. But obviously, no matter which of those two scenarios it is, this 10 car is going to have to, still put in a lap and get back to the checkered flag. But obviously, it's been a good performance from that 10 team to stick it out. We saw that nice little battle, too, between Swarm Racing and this number 10 Porsche for a little while, that obviously then the Porsche won out. But he's coming through the last set of corners before he can get onto that long backstretch to bring him through the last portion of the circuit. And just a Class A performance by that team to keep this car in contention and then continue forward, being patient and putting it in a position to win the class.
Definitely a driver and team effort. They had an up and down day. Earlier on in the race, I pointed out they actually missed. I think it was turn 6, and actually went into the tire barrier. So they had a little bit of damage. I don't know if that got fixed or really hindered much of their performance, but nonetheless, they brought it home 8th place and a class win.
Yeah, they were going to exit Sunset Bend, and that is it for Theo Brolsma. Theo Brolsma collects the race win for Team Crash. That is huge for Theo as well. He put together some pretty good runs there at the end of the normal league, and for him to come around and collect the class win for Team Crashed and everybody else. I know Christopher Bailey on that car. I believe they had a third driver as well. Let me check on that. Travis Hill as well in that number 10 car. So big stuff. Big stuff for that number 10 team. And really incredible to be able to see them collect that class win. That means a ton. And again, it's just so cool to be a part of an event that means so much to so many people. And I know that's going to mean a lot to Theo and everybody else over there at that number 10 team.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the guys who ran in the open class, and obviously the open class winner was the overall winning team today. But when you talk about the pro and the beneficiary guys, you talk about the guys who really gain from Operation Motorsports and getting the opportunities to put some purpose in their lives and have a team of people supporting them and enabling them opportunities to do cool things with race cars and just be a part of society, which like we've talked about all day long, is something that a regular person that isn't necessarily affiliated or experienced with the military and reassimilating back into a standard environment and a standard society, that's the tough part. And so for Teo, obviously he had served, and we're very appreciative of him doing that, and then getting the chance to come out here and do this. I think this is what the race is all about, and this is the feel good moment for everybody is those guys getting to come home and spray the virtual champagne on the virtual podium.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better myself. What an absolute show these guys have put on for us tonight. Hopefully, we will be able to do another one of these next year if they are, assuming COVID is taken care of by then. Hopefully, they'll be back on the racetrack, on the real racetrack soon, and I'm going to be looking forward. Hopefully, I'll be able to be more involved with Opmo after this. I've had a fantastic time.
Yeah, it's you guys mentioned learning about Opmo throughout the evening last night, researching before this race, and going into today. That's the goal, right? To educate people. I've educated myself, and hopefully a ton of viewers about Opmo, and that's the big thing, is being able to reach an entirely new audience and teach more people about Opmo and what they do. And you see, they've gathered here on the front stretch. Pretty cool to see these guys gathering on the front stretch after an amazing race Again, just a really, really cool event. We're going to step aside. We're going to get ready for some post-race interviews. Do not go anywhere because we've got post-race coverage here on the other side. And boy, this song that's going to take you to break is actually called The Stars Align. I think that fits perfectly for the day that Team Crashed had.
Yeah, it's just because that way you can actually adjust the actual heat level. So you just got to be like just a little bit of heat. It's just enough to like.
On average, 22 veterans from North America commit suicide every single day. That's one veteran for every second of this video.
We welcome you all back to Sebring International Raceway, and we're just going to get right into our post-race coverage here, talking with each of the podium finishing teams in both categories. And without further ado, I'm just going to hand it right over to Jason Leach.
Andrew, and thanks for Pit Stop TV for staying with us throughout this entire broadcast, and also for the work you did for us through our iRacing League. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us from YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, wherever you might be watching us from, thanks for joining us today on this very special occasion in our iRace of Remembrance. We're going to go ahead and move into the virtual trophy presentation. So first up, we're bringing in in the open class, the BMW CCA Club Racing Team. They finished P1, consisting of Kurt Dolter, Matt Kellish, and Dave Hines. Guys, hey, congratulations! You guys were a late entry into the race here the last couple of days, but boy, you guys really showed that you came to compete, and you brought your A game with you. So congratulations on taking the top spot today in the open class.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, we got to say this was a great event. This was a great race. Thanks for putting it on, guys.
Hey, and Dave, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, thanks for putting on such an awesome event for such an important cause. We'd really like to thank Jim Anderson from BMW CCA, who kind of keyed us into this event and helped us get entered. And yeah, we had a good race today, and definitely thanks to my teammates for putting on a pretty impeccable performance. But again, just happy to be a part of this in general for such a worthy cause.
No, we really appreciate it. We're very glad to have you guys join us. So
definitely like to say thanks to the veterans for all they do for us to allow us to do this. Thank you to Operation Motorsports. Obviously, this has been a great event. A lot of courteous drivers. It's the first time for our team, driving with you guys, and everybody's very courteous, and it's just a great time. Also like to thank HIP Motorsports, which is Jim Anderson's company. He does a lot of sim. He has a sim studio. So if you're looking to, train up on simulator time, he can help you out, and it's hipmotorsports.com.
Hey, well, again, congratulations on P1 today. As part of the prize package, we're going to be sending you guys each a nice little plaque, little 3D map of Sebring Racing, along with our unique livery and sticker decal that we put together for this event. So we're going to get those in the mail to you guys soon, and hopefully you find a special place for them in your office, in your home somewhere, where you can look back and think about this day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And if anybody's excited about driving the BMW M4 like we are, you can go to bmwccaclubracing.com/iRacing. The three of us are involved, and we put on 20-minute sprint races just for the M4 under the BMW CCA banner. So come on out.
Awesome. So I'm sure we'll have some people to take you up on that. So again, congratulations on P1, and we're going to move on to the next team.
Thanks so much.
Take care, guys. Okay, so the next up we have Vision Sim Racing. So let me come down here and grab those guys. Let me find them. So we got Tyler Mente, and I'm looking for Cameron Tucker. I don't see Cameron here with us. You got him? Okay, and then we're looking for Dean Cox as well. There's Dino. Okay, guys, so I think we got the team from Vision Sim Racing here. Tyler Guglielmente, hopefully I got that right. Cameron Tucker and Dean Cox. Hey, guys, congratulations on finishing second place today. You guys, again, definitely gave the BMW guys a run for their money. And just a great race overall, especially over 6 hours of this event. So congratulations.
Thank you so much for hosting the event. It was an amazing race, a lot of great competition, real clean.
Yeah, it was a really great race, really great event. Just in general, really run well. It's a lot of fast teams in here too.
That there definitely was. I mean, when I looked across the competition and everybody's iRating and skill set, it told me we were going to have some good competition today. Looking at the practices over the last couple of days, definitely at times we're all within very close to each other. So really appreciate the clean competition and how you guys did everything today. And Dino, I'm going to kick it over to you if you got anything you'd like to add.
Oh yeah, I just want to thank Tyler first of all, because he was the one that brought my attention to this race. As soon as he mentioned that I wanted to take part, having military in my family from my past, long way back. But yeah, it was something that I wanted to take part in, and I feel honoured to have done it. It's been brilliant. The racing's been great, like the guys said, and Tyler's last stint was absolutely epic.
That's awesome, man. So again, congratulations on finishing P2 today. We're going to get some nice plaques put in the mail and shipped off to you guys, just so you've got something, a little memento as a thank you, but also as a way to say congratulations for your finish today. And hopefully it finds a special place in your office or your home where you can look back on this day and remember your accomplishments.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jason, and thanks Pit Stop TV for the broadcast.
Yeah, awesome broadcast.
Couldn't agree more.
Great. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and we're going to move on to Rocket Surgeon Racing.
All right, y'all have a great night.
Thanks,
all right.
Okay, so now we're pulling up Rocket Surgeon Racing, consisting of Dustin Burkhalter and Paul Lindsay. So Rocket Surgeon Racing took third place today. And guys, amazing turnaround and to come up onto the podium in third spot, especially after that first. I wouldn't even think we had just taken the green flag, or it wasn't even that. It was still a pace lap, wasn't it? When you guys got spun.
Yes. That was hard to take, but it was a fun fight back.
Oh. Dustin, you're I don't think you're any stranger to talking to the Pit Stop TV guys or up here on the YouTube broadcast from our iRacing League. So, congratulations for the drive you put on today, you and Paul. I mean, you guys definitely showed that you came to contend, and being the first two-person team within the open class to finish the podium, you guys had to put in a little bit of extra work compared to the BMW and CCA Club Racing team and the Vision Sim Racing, where they had 3 drivers. So, how'd everything go for you guys today?
Paul's to blame for the success. He's the one who turned around dead last with like a 15-second gap to the next car and got us up to 5th, and all I really did was not lose positions. I think I gained 2 and I lost 1, so it worked out well, but Paul was definitely the MVP.
Wow. again, congratulations on the third place finish. We've got a nice little plaque. We're gonna get in the mail to you guys. Something to remember this particular event, and hopefully it finds a nice place up on your wall somewhere in your house, in your office, where you can look back and remember today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay, guys. So that completes our open class. We're going to go ahead and move on to our pro beneficiary class. So for those that might just be joining us on out there on the streaming land, our pro beneficiary class, how that was divided up was those are Operation Motorsport beneficiaries or people taking part in Operation Motorsport programs. And then what we did is we partnered them with a pro-rated driver, whether it's a pro-rated kind of from an iRacing perspective or in the real world racing perspective. So the intent there was just to get them teamed up and work together and have an opportunity to co-drive even in the virtual world where that may not always be possible out in the real world. So our first team is Team Crash. So I'm pulling up Theo, I'm pulling up Chris Bailey, and there's Travis Hill. So okay, so Team Crash, P1 in the pro beneficiary class. Theo, Chris, Travis, congratulations on quite the run today, and Theo, you were really putting it down there at the end as a last stint driver. You guys put on an excellent race today. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
So how did talk to us about today's race? What challenges you faced, what obstacles you had to overcome.
I got a little worried in the first stint because we took a little bit of damage in the opening laps, and we made the tough decision to pit for a faster pair. And when we did that, we tossed a splash of fuel in, and I think that was key because after that, we had a little bit of flexibility in when we pitted, and we could short fuel at the end, which saved us 5 seconds. And the way the race turned out, it was just enough to get us into 8th place overall, I believe. So, yeah, it ended up working out pretty good.
And Chris, what did you see from your time inside the cockpit?
Our goal was to keep it nice and clean for the first stint, which unfortunately didn't happen. And then, as Theo said, it kind of changed our strategy a little bit. And from that point forward, it was just trying to put our heads down, focus on getting some nice, clean, consistent laps in, and stay out of the trouble for the rest of the race. And it seemed to work out really well for us. And Travis really helped with spotting and doing our strategy as well.
Gotcha. And Travis, you didn't get behind the seat today. I know you were having some sim challenges there on the internet side, but you did definitely the lead crew chief, lead spotter for the team. So talk to us about your strategy from your seat today.
Like I said, these guys did all the heavy lifting. I was just hanging out, kind of walking through, throwing in my 2 cents whenever I could. But I mean, we've seen Theo developing as an engineer and planning strategies. So it's not a surprise to me that we finished the race with less than 4 liters of fuel. I think we had so well timed, a little bit of adapting early on, but I mean the guys ran really clean, did what they needed to do to get to the front. So it was all on them. They did a great job.
Okay. Well, hey guys, again, congratulations on today's finish, and we're gonna have a little bit of break, but hopefully we see you guys back in the winter when the iRacing League for Operation Motorsport kicks back off.
Sure, I'll be there.
I will definitely be there as well.
Okay, awesome. Okay, guys. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up our P2 position. So that was Resilience Racing Esports and AOA Racing. So that was Chris Walsh and Adam Poppenhaus. So Chris, Adam, hey, congratulations on reaching the podium today in P2. You guys, I know you guys qualified on the pole. Ran into a little bit of a challenge there in the pits, but you guys made a heck of a comeback to take P2 here inside the pro beneficiary class. So talk to us about your day.
Yeah, no, it was good. Got lucky and was able to put down pole by like 0.03 of a second. I think it was really tight, and then just maintain the front lead. We didn't get a lot of practice in, so we didn't really have a good. I'll take the ownership on that one. Just didn't communicate how pit stops go, and there was some confusion on a little bit of a simism that we sat in the pits longer than we needed to, just of our own doing. So nothing just happens. So we tried to make up the ground, and just happy to keep it clean. We actually ran the last 2.5 hours with 14 out of 15 incident points, trying to go fast and also not get a penalty. So it was a very challenging race for us.
Awesome. And Adam, anything you'd like to add?
Oh yeah, it was Chris definitely set the standard quick, and it was. I'm happy that we finished as strong as we did. Definitely there was a lack of preparation here, but it was an outstanding race, and everything stayed clean, and it could have been a lot worse. I do feel a little guilty for my mistake, but I was waiting for somebody to tell me to go. So I was just sitting there. It's a little disappointing, definitely a learning situation, but Chris is such a great teammate, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, awesome. So again, guys, congratulations on P2. Again, like the Open guys, we've got a nice little plaque we're going to get in the mail to you guys, and hopefully it finds a special place on the wall in your house or in your office where you can look back and remember this, and hopefully we'll see you guys too in January when we kick off our Operation Motorsport iRacing League Season 2.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You guys have a
Okay.
good
Cheers,
evening.
guys.
Have a good evening. Okay, and last but certainly not least is in our pro beneficiary class is Resilience Racing Esports Team Number 1, which is John Winker, Hunter Reeve and Evan Smith. John and Hunter being the beneficiary side, and then Evan being the pro side here. So hey guys, congratulations on taking the third spot on the podium today. You guys definitely fought hard across those 6 hours, and just if you can, just kind of tell us about your day, the challenges you faced, and how you overcame them.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. I think we had a pretty good race. I think we had one incident early on that resulted in us losing a few positions, but I think Hunter really showed up and put down some fast laps and made up some really good spots for us, and ultimately ended up with the third place.
Okay. Evan or John, tell us about the challenges you faced and kind of how your day went and how you guys work together as a team.
I'll chime in. First of all, I want to just thank everybody at Operation Motorsports and John and Hunter and everybody at Recaro and who got involved with this whole thing. It was a pleasure to meet everybody and to be a part of this cool event. It was fun driving. I set us back with a little mistake, but Hunter picked up the pace and got us back on the podium. So I just want to tell everybody thank you, and especially thank you to all the wonderful servicemen and women who do such a great job out there. Appreciate it.
John?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Yeah, I definitely would like to thank some of our sponsors, Skip Barber Racing School and Redline Oil, helped make this possible. And, again, thanks to Operation Motorsports. We've been having a great time participating in the league races that you guys have been putting on. And, it was an absolute pleasure to be able to participate in this race. And it was great to be hooked up with Evan and meeting Hunter through the league and have him drive for us was great.
Again, you guys put on a great show, great endurance today, and really glad we got you guys linked up. I know this was a last minute kind of connection here with Evan, but you guys definitely showed that it was a good team dynamic from the get-go, and to finish where you did is a testament to that. So again, congratulations on third place, and we're going to be getting a nice little plaque out to you guys in the mail here soon, and hopefully it finds a special place in your house or your office where you can kind of look back and think about this event.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Okay, guys. So you guys have a good evening. I'm going to kick it back over here to Pit Stop TV. You guys put on a great show for us. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you for everything you've done for us this year. And we're looking forward to the future and the partnership of what comes next.
Absolutely. Don't go anywhere yet, Jason. It seems like
Okay.
you really took care of all the driver interviews here, so we'll just talk with you a little bit and kind of close things out, man. How did everything look from your point of view? I know you were kind of doing race control. You were coordinating a lot of interviews with us. How was your day for the iRace of Remembrance?
Yeah, so today was a great day. This is the first time Operation Motorsport. Well, let's be honest. Operation Motorsport's kind of new to the iRacing scene. Just having come into it because of the whole COVID stuff. And one day Diesel and I and Travis even were kind of talking. And it was like, hey, what if we did this? Put on this iRacing thing. It seems to be catching popularity, and let's see if we can get some interest in it. And it took off. So we started off with about 6 practice races. And then turned into a racing league. That's when we found you guys to help broadcast. And then, once we figured out that, we kind of held on to hope that the Race of Remembrance at Anglesey was actually going to go off this weekend. Obviously, it didn't because of COVID, but, Diesel and I were talking, and he challenged, hey, what if we did a virtual Race of Remembrance? And we thought about it and said, haven't done endurance racing yet. I really don't know what I'm doing, but let's make a go of it. And today was the end result. We reached out across multiple social networks just to try to culminate and find drivers, called in favors, sent emails, begged, borrowed people to kind of come join us. And what you saw today were 22 teams. I think we're 51 some odd drivers, 2 from Hungary. I mean, I don't even know how the hell Hungary found out, we were doing this. And my concern as the race director, as kind of the admin guy here, is I want to put on a good event for our beneficiaries and the people coming on board. And most of these people I don't know. So, not anybody could join the league. They had to apply and then be accepted into it. I looked at iRatings, I looked at licensing, I looked at experience, because at the end of the day, my goal is to put on a clean, fair race where, again, today's event was more about the remembrance ceremony and the video broadcast at the beginning of the race than anything else. And that's what the Race of Remembrance is all about. The real world Race of Remembrance, it pauses on Sunday morning, and at 11 o'clock in the morning, everybody comes together, and there's a virtual, or it's a real memorial ceremony. If you're military, you're asked to don your uniform. If you're a veteran, you're asked to don your headgear and your medals. And we just get together as a form of remembrance and healing. And to witness that in person last year for the first time was a moving event. And when you see race car drivers and crew members, and everybody's got a tie to the military community, whether they, most of them having served, most of them having lost or seen the effects of military service can have, mentally and physically on people. That's a tremendous moving thing, which makes you realize why we do what we do to reach our veteran community, because everybody struggles with transition, whether it's under your own accord or whether you're being forced out because you're no longer deemed by the military, at least, fit for duty. And we all go through it. And in order to have those common bonds with people and know that you're not alone, that's a pretty powerful message, and that's a pretty powerful reminder. And frankly, we have some people with us that are still with us today because of groups like Mission Motorsport, groups like Operation Motorsport, or the number of other veteran advocacy groups out there that reach out for the good of the veteran or the good of the military member. So again, my goal was to put on a good event. The drivers are the ones that really can control that. I can only write so much or email so much or give people my opinion and my ideas on how to do things. It's up to the drivers at the end of the day, though, to respect each other on the track, give each other racing room, but still be competitive. And I think you saw that. And the feedback we've gotten from multiple drivers today was how professional everybody was with each other, how courteous they were of each other, but they were still racing each other. And nobody was dive bombing. There was no malicious intent out there. And at the end of the day, that's my goal. And probably the biggest thing I worried about, because I didn't know much of these guys, but they definitely proved my concerns were not needed or valid, and I probably could have just slept in this morning and let everything run on autopilot, and the results would have been the same.
Yeah, this event certainly went nicely. And you say that you can only write so much, email so much. Let me tell you, he definitely emailed us a lot. But hey, the payoff is that we have this good of an event. There we go. It all went off without a hitch. I think there were maybe 2 hiccups early on, and then it was let's just go racing, and it was a great time. And again, the big theme was we are here to remember, and we are here to celebrate to the best of our ability and honor. And it certainly is. Every time we have one of these broadcasts, man, when we get to the end and start talking about the meaning behind all of it, it does legitimately start to give me allergies. We'll say that. No, it brings a tear to my eye, and it gets me a little bit choked up every single time we talk about the meaning of it. This stuff means a lot to a lot of people, especially this event in particular, the iRace of Remembrance. We talked about it earlier on, what it means to some people that weren't able to get out to Anglesey Circuit this year. I mean, it's big, and to just be a little piece of that puzzle is really important to us. It means a lot to us, and we're all looking forward to seeing where the future may take us with this kind of deal as well. And
and you talk about real quick, just to share a little story for people out there that are watching. One of the things, and nobody knows this, is one of our hiccups this morning was one of our teams, one of the drivers, beneficiary drivers, couldn't register. And his team member hit me up this morning and said, hey, so-and-so couldn't register this morning, and I've already registered, therefore we can't compete because they didn't meet the minimum driver side. So we went back and forth a little bit, and the decision was, hey, we're going to cancel the current iRacing session. Everybody was just starting to finish up practice. We're getting ready to go into qualifying. We're going to rebuild the session. And we did that, and then, through my own, not paying attention to detail as much as I should be, forgot to expand the number from 10 teams to 22. Therefore, only 10 teams could join, so we had to rebuild the session a third time within a matter of a couple of minutes, and then get everybody in, get everybody qualified. And one of those teams that initially may not have been racing today ended up getting on the podium. So it's that, and we preach it, the same things that exist in military operations, no matter how much you practice, no matter how much you plan. Murphy's going to throw a curveball at you that morning or during that mission you weren't ready for, and you got to overcome and adapt to continue carrying on. And that's one thing we preach, within Operation Motorsport, and it's one thing that is so common within motorsports. The top tier teams in the real world, they face that every event they go out, and most people probably never notice it because it looks like on the surface everything's running smooth. We're below the waterline, it's complete chaos, but they make it happen, and that's why we see so many parallels between military operations and motorsports, and even here in the virtual world. But that's why this organization exists, to help rebuild team, a sense of purpose, a sense of identity for our folks who are participating in the programs, because the same challenges exist in the motorsports world, and it's so easily to see the parallels between those two worlds.
Absolutely. When you break it down that way, and when we break it down into the fact that these returning servicemen and women get a chance to be a part of that team atmosphere again, it all makes sense and it all fits. And again, want to thank you and thank the Lauders as well for bringing us in and allowing us to have this opportunity with you guys and to be able to represent you guys. There we go. But man, there were a lot of moments like that where we just couldn't get the words out.
No, absolutely. Again, glad to have you guys. We're going to kick off our next iRacing League season number 2 in January. If you guys, anybody out there that wants to join us, more than welcome to hit us up. OperationMotorsport.org. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Instagram. Let's or if there's other opportunities you might see where Operation Motorsport, where we can partner together on something. Again, get in touch with us. Glad to have the conversation. Glad to tell anybody who's willing to listen about our foundation and our programs.
By all means, I think more of this right here, more of these events. This has really been a big thing today. And, my 2 commentators that are still here with us, and even Noah and Emerson and Trey doing social media all day, we all really enjoyed being a part of it. And The big thing that stood out to me was Joe and Trey talking about how they've learned so much about Operation Motorsport in just the last 24 hours or so. And we had talked about it multiple times throughout the season, Jason, that the big thing was to educate new people about Operation Motorsport. Obviously, that's the reason anybody partners with somebody who can, send their name out there, of course. But to be able to introduce anybody to Operation Motorsport is a really cool opportunity, and it really means a lot.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it, and thanks for having me up in the booth today.
Absolutely, Jason. Thanks for your time and all your hard work and everybody else's hard work going into this. With that, I do want to bring Joe and Trey back into things and want to go down our race results, and I'll just hand it right over to you, Joe.
Right on. Well, we'll pull that up for you. You can see 107 laps led for first place, the number 44 BMW CCA Club iRacing team. We talked to them, just great performance all day long from that group, and very impressive stuff. The number 5 Fish and Sim Racing BMW pulled a second place performance off, and we talked about their strength throughout the course of the race as well. So obviously they earned their second place position. And the Rocket Surgeon Racing team, the number 70 BMW finishing third, also earned their position. We've talked about the pre-race miscue and having to fight their way back up from the literal tail end of the field. So for them to come home on the podium, very impressive as well. The number 20 Swarm Racing, a number 3 entry, that was the story at the end of the race, coming into the pit lane from second place and relinquishing their podium position, but still finishing on the lead lap and in fourth place. Very impressive stuff. Fifth place on the order, the number 78 Whiplash Racing Purple team, 1 lap down, but still in the top 5. Good stuff from them as well. The number 5, really slow motion, 105, my apologies, really slow motion racing team fought their way up slowly, consistent and quiet over the course of the race, but ended up 6th place. Good stuff from them. And in 7th place, the number 42 Porsche, that is Gen Pop Racing, showed some strength throughout the course of the race and got home 7th place. 8th position, Team Crash to the number 10 Porsche, is the pro/beneficiary class victor, 1 lap behind the overall winner, and that Porsche put on a great performance at the end to fight alongside the Swarm Racing 2, number 987, who came home in 9th place. They were fighting it out at the end, and it ended up being the number 10 coming out on top of those two, but still a great performance to get the top 10 from the number 987. The number 77 Whiplash Racing Aqua BMW rounded out your top 10, so Whiplash been getting both of their cars into the top 10. And Trey, I'll go ahead and pass it on to you for 11th spot.
Finishing 11th, we have Swarm Racing 1. Finishing 12th, we had the 718 of Resilience Racing and AOA Racing alliance there. We saw them up front, and with that, as they mentioned, the issue in pit road kind of put them further on back, but they finished on the podium nonetheless. Resilience Racing Esports 1 finishes in 13th. Resilience Racing Esports 2 finishes in 14th, so pretty cool to see all 3 of the Resilience teams right there, right behind each other. Night Blind Racing finishes 15th. S&S Motorsports in 16th. Tooth Autosport, finishes 17th. Let's Talk Racing in 18th. EWR Motorsport Orange finishes 19th. And Resilience Racing Esports 3, 20th. And to round out the rest of the field, we have EWR Motorsport Silver in 21st and C3 Racing in 22nd.
Once again, just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Want to thank everybody for everyone's efforts going into the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League, going into this event, the iRace of Remembrance. It's certainly been a long day, and we'll cap it off here in just a moment. But first, of course, we have to thank, once again, everybody involved. Recaro Automotive performance seats are more than just a set of components. They exude innovation, quality, premium materials, craftsmanship, and a genuine passion for cars. Recaro Automotive is proud to support Operation Motorsport's iRacing. Redcom products help protect lives. Redcom products are installed in the highest levels of government, and some of the most important conversations in the world are held on Redcom equipment. And of course, Mobil 1 is the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand. The Corvette Racing C8R is now available in iRacing for anyone looking to experience the exhilarating mid-engine performance of the C8R in the virtual world. And Joe, I'll pass it right on over to you with our own partner plugs.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to start off with, for our own Pit Stop TV sponsors, we want to thank Tucson Sound Art for their continued support of our programs. Your picture, your music, you provide the image you want, and they create a beautifully framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Be sure to visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info, and don't forget to use the promo code PitStopTV for 10% off your order. Our next sponsor is Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup and Cryo, the owner, Ashley Bollier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist. She's providing professional, safe, and personalized services for any of your makeup and cryo needs. You can contact them, Permanent Makeup and Cryo at Maine, at their website, permanentmakeupinmaine.com. Once again, permanentmakeupinmaine.com. Or call or text them at 207-358-8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine a call today and book a consultation. Be sure to also visit their Facebook page, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, and you can enter one of their monthly giveaways. Be sure to enter today, because who knows, you might just win. And of course, we want to thank, a little miscue there. I want to thank Whiplash TV for the continued support. The parent organization of Whiplash Media, the parent organization of Pit Stop TV. Bear with me, it's been a long day. I apologize on behalf of that. Whiplash TV specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and much more. Whiplash Media also is working on creating a presence in the real racing world, offering services like photography, social media management, and public relations. Be sure to go to the website, www.whiplash-media.com, for more information.
Thank you so much, Joe, and it's been a heck of a day. I was up about 12 hours ago getting ready on everything, some final preparations, and to think it all ended that quickly, man, it didn't feel like 6 hours, but it was certainly an amazing day, and certainly appreciate everybody involved for allowing us to be a part of it. That concludes our coverage tonight of the iRace of Remembrance. We at Pit Stop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for today's action, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Be sure to join us tomorrow evening as we bring you both the BRP iRacing Series at Eldora Speedway and the Northwest GC3 Challenge at Silverstone Circuit. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pitstoptv, on Twitter at pitstoptv_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/c/pitstoptv1. Now, before I close this out officially, I also want to urge everybody to head over to operationmotorsport.org/donate. To donate to Operation Motorsport and help support this amazing cause that we've been a part of now since the beginning of September. And again, make sure everybody head on over and take part. For all of us at Pit Stop TV, Trey Patton, Margaret Beveridge, Emerson Arden, Trey Shuttlesworth, Noah Carmichael, and Joe Donahue with me throughout the day, I'm Andrew Cardinale IV. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.